Wembley. We're almost ready to go. Michael Oliver is the referee. One change for Manchester City from the win at Wembley in the Carabao Cup final. Mark Gay was ineligible that day. He's in for Nathan Ake as Liverpool, through Dominic Szoboszlai, get the ball underway, and he's just blasted it straight out for a Manchester City throw-in in their right-back position. So James Trafford continues in goal for City. What a couple of weeks he's had. His first England call-up, as well as that success at Wembley. Matthias, Gay, Kusanov and O'Reilly, the back line. Rodri and Bernardo in central midfield. Cherki, Doku and Semenyo all behind Erling Haaland up front, as Rodri gets an early touch. The man who's been in the headlines this week, and a lovely spin straight away from Nico O'Reilly. Little flick as well to take him past Gravenberg and Szoboszlai, and he gets a big round of applause from the Manchester City fans as the Blues move it forward down the left-hand side. Bernardo into Doki, but the ball just bounces off him, and Gomez will roll it all the way back to his goalkeeper, Mamardashvili, who clears it long downfield, and Rodri just tidies things up for Manchester City. Matthias will find Nico O'Reilly. So in terms of Liverpool's side, 3 changes for them today. From the defeat at Brighton last time out. The big news, Mo Salah does start, and he's just hovering on the halfway line at the moment as Doku turns it wide to O'Reilly towards the edge of the Liverpool box. Back to Doku, who scored a screamer in the Premier League against them earlier in the season. This time he just drags his right-footed shot wide of the right-hand post. But some early promise for Manchester City.
Yeah, and it's so important when you start the game. You need to get bums off seats. You need to get the fans behind you. City have started really, really well here. Lovely little cameo by Nico O'Reilly in the middle of the park. Rodri looking comfortable already, and first shot on goal already.
Yeah, first attempt at goal from Manchester City in the opening 2 minutes. So the 3 Liverpool changes, Salah back in, Jones and Gomez also in, and it's Frimpong, McAllister and Gakpo, the 3 that drop out. Mamardashvili in goal, Gomez, Van Dijk, Konate and Kerkez, the back 4. Gravenberg and Jones in central midfield. Salah, Szoboszlai and Wirtz behind Hugo Ekitike up front. And there was talk that club record signing Alexander Isak was close to a return to the bench today after his broken leg, but Arne Slot has said that it's come too early for him, and he hopes he will be involved in the squad for the Champions League game against PSG on Wednesday night. City shooting left to right in the first half in their sky blue shirts with the white diagonal stripe down them, white shorts and blue socks, and Liverpool are all in red. Nico O'Reilly will turn the ball into Doku, who already is causing problems. This time the referee, Michael Oliver, says it wasn't a foul on him by Gomez, and Wirtz brings it clear. First touch of the ball for Salah, now Ekitike just outside the D, but he's short of options and has to turn backwards, and he'll just lay the ball back to his captain Virgil van Dijk. And now Gravenberg has a pocket of space in the middle of the Manchester City half. He turns it out to Gomez, tries to thread a first time ball into Wirtz, edge of the penalty area, tries to shift it out of his feet. Florian Wirtz chips it towards Ekitike, thought about taking it first time, inside the box, lays it back to Wirtz. Early chance for Liverpool. The shot was deflected, it hit Kusanov, took the power out of the strike, and it's gathered safely in the end by James Trafford. 0-0.
I thought Wirtz had a good chance to pull the trigger there, and he turned it down, but he did pick Ekitike out. I think it's interesting watching Ekitike in the first 2 or 3 minutes so far. He's picked up a very unorthodox position out here on City's right hand side against Kusanov.
And there's a claim for a free kick by Curtis Jones. Rodri turns his head away as the referee, Michael Oliver, gives Liverpool the free kick halfway inside the City half. Bernardo Silva straight in his ear to complain about that decision as we see a replay. What did you make of it, Mark?
He fell over. That was cheap, in my opinion.
It was Semenyo, I think it was, who is the player that's been penalised. Free kick to Liverpool. Szoboszlai and Salah stand over this, so a chance for them maybe to put James Trafford under pressure. 4 minutes gone in the FA Cup quarter-finals. Salah with a little dummy run. Szoboszlai just holds his right hand out. I think he wants to take this. Liverpool have got 5 players inside the City box. Szoboszlai stands it up, flicked on by Konate. Van Dijk was in there, but in the end it drifts into the arms of James Trafford.
I know a lot of people won't see this, but it's a brilliant line from City that makes it it changes the technique of you putting that ball in, especially with it was probably better, it should have been an outswinger because the line was so high there. But those little tiny details can make such a difference to the game.
Pep Guardiola, incidentally, is not on the Manchester City bench today. He's serving the second match of a touchline ban for too many yellow cards today, so he's in the director's box, and that means Pep Lijnders will take care of things down there. Special day for him after 10 years at Liverpool working alongside Jurgen Klopp. Here come Manchester City. Nico O'Reilly finds Doku, who's on the left-hand touchline. Gomez stands it up and the Belgian plays the ball off Joe Gomez, and it's out for a Manchester City throw-in.
It's really interesting watching Liverpool from goal kicks. They've got Ekitike on one side, Salah on the opposite. Van Dijk's actually coming into midfield and they're making a little box in there, so they've obviously had a look at something like that in training to see what they can overload the midfield and play from there, but not seen Liverpool do that before.
Rodri into O'Reilly, and now it's back to Bernardo Silva, and now Rodri, who made the headlines as we were discussing pre-match during the international break for those comments about Real Madrid. Matias finds Semenyo. Chance for him to go at Kerkez down the City right. Tries to feed it into Cherki, edge of the penalty area. Not mentioned his name yet, but Liverpool sweep things up. Bit of a risky ball by Gravenberch back to Van Dijk. Haaland was in there, and City have regained possession. And now a chance for Cherki to drive into the box. Cherki under pressure from Kerkez, and also Wirtz plays the ball off Kerkez and out for a first City corner.
But you know what? I'm just looking at Semenyo there playing against Turks. I'm thinking, take him on, take him outside, take him outside. I know you want to come inside. Nothing comes of it, and then Cherki gets it, takes him outside, put a cross in, corner. Pretty basic stuff, but pretty obvious. Come, take him down the line.
Bernardo Silva gets a great reception as he comes across to take this corner for Manchester City. Liverpool have got every single player back inside their own 18-yard box as Bernardo raises his right arm. 6 minutes gone, 0-0 on Total Sport, BBC Radio Manchester and BBC Sounds this afternoon. Bernardo floats this one up, actually. I thought he was going to whip it in, he just floated it, and in the end it was a comfortable claim for Mamanashvili in the Liverpool goal.
Yeah, poor corner from his standards, and obviously a basic principle of corners, somebody should always be blocking the keeper. At worst, take him out of game, and because that's a transitional situation there. I'm not sure Liverpool have the pace to get away from that point, but really basic action that.
It is the 7th FA Cup tie between these two teams, and Liverpool have progressed in each of the last 4, including that FA Cup semi-final the year they last won it in 2022 at Wembley. That was the day Zach Steffen had a nightmare in the City goal. Here come Liverpool coming forward. Gravenberch edge of the penalty area. Ekitike stands it up for Szoboszlai. Little header down. Wirtz has got his back to goal, and in comes Rodri. Important interception from the Spanish midfielder to get City out of trouble. Now Doku skips past a couple of players. Gomez puts his foot in, and Liverpool have got the ball back, but nearly created something there, with Gravenberch making a driving run through the middle of that City midfield.
Sorry, Mark, that's Wirtz twice there. He's on the positive side of the blue line. I'll let you come in now.
Yeah, Jones has got it back off Salah, edge of the area. Curtis Jones, wide it goes to Gomez. Crossing chance in towards the 6-yard box, cleared by Gay. Szoboszlai hit it. It was charged down. Now Kerkez wins it back from Haaland. Growing frustration amongst the City fans as Liverpool enjoy a bit of pressure in the early stages. 8 minutes gone, it's 0-0, and now you hear the City fans find their voice as Curtis Jones puts his foot on the ball 6 yards outside the City penalty area. Out it goes to Virgil van Dijk, and he'll move it out to Ekitike with the bleached blonde hair, 22 on his back. He's had an excellent first season since arriving in the Premier League. In it goes to Kerkez, and now back to Virgil van Dijk. Every City player behind the ball at the moment. There's Liverpool, I would say, shading the early possession, and it comes to Curtis Jones, and now it's Kanate, and Salah on that right hand side. Is he going to be able to keep that in? No, he's not. Ball's just behind him, and it's out for a Manchester City throw.
Sorry, Mark, I was just saying, Wirtz there twice, he's on the positive side of the City line, and he's come back twice, which kind of tells you I don't feel I've got the power and pace to get away. That might change again. What City haven't got the grips yet is Liverpool are playing a completely unorthodox shape in possession, compared to without possession, with Ekitike outside making a box in midfield, and Liverpool and City haven't quite figured that out yet.
Well, Liverpool really need a big performance here, big performance on Wednesday night to quell some of the pressure that's been building on Arne Slot this season. Defending champions, remember, but 5th in the Premier League, but still in Europe. Unlike Manchester City, you've got a free week coming up before they go to Chelsea next weekend. That's another game you'll be able to hear live on BBC Radio Manchester. Semenyo with a little push in the back there on Gravenberch. The two players shake hands as Michael Oliver gives the free kick to Liverpool, and Curtis Jones will knock it into Ekitike. First time flick to Wirtz on this left hand side. He's slowly started to come good this season as Florian Wirtz. Now got 6 goals and 9 assists. A lot of money spent on him. but didn't go his way towards the start of the season. Mamardashvili, who's in again for this fixture with Alisson out injured, clears it long. It's out for a Liverpool throw-in. The City fans felt that decision should have gone their way.
Yeah, I've been touch and go with a few and probably felt the wrong. So I'm just fascinated. So I'll say it one more time and I'll move on. But Ekitike and Salah are playing. They're literally two players are pinning Liverpool's back four, giving themselves a massive overload in midfield, which is clearly where they see they want to play through there.
Yeah, Ekitike on the left-hand side of that Liverpool attack. Salah on the right. He now drops short towards the centre circle to offer an option to Curtis Jones, but instead he goes out to Konate, and now Curtis Jones gets it back. Low ball into Wirtz in midfield. What a start to the weekend in terms of the FA Cup quarter-finals we've got. Manchester City against Liverpool, two heavyweights head-to-head at the Etihad. Wirtz, now Ekitike, edge of the area, gets it back from Wirtz, and then tries a low right-footed effort that didn't trouble Trafford in the end, but Liverpool showing good signs in that attacking third.
Yeah, the warning signs are there. And again, because of the overload in midfield, they're actually getting into that mid to final third area. I mean, they've done it 2 or 3 times already. Not hit the target, nothing at the end of it. But for me, the warning signs are there.
Rodri picks up the ball from Kusanov under pressure from 3 red shirts on the edge of his own area. And then Matthias, very calm in possession, squares the ball to Kusanov, and now out to Mark Gay, who had a proud night personally on Tuesday, captaining England for the first time against Japan at Wembley, even though the result didn't go the way he would have wanted. Lots of talk about Phil Foden, of course, after that. He's on the City bench today. Here's Cherki, who's playing in the Foden position, tries to thread it through to Haaland. Liverpool get it away, but City have done well to win the ball back quickly, and the home fans like that, as Bernardo Silva has it on the edge of the centre circle. And now Mark Gay will look for Doku on the left-hand side. And the City 3-0 winners here back in November, with Haaland, Nico and Doku the goal scorers. What's happened here? Szoboszlai's gone down, and Michael Oliver has given Liverpool another free kick.
Yeah, it was a cheap free kick. When I look at City here, look at Semenyo on one side, Doku on the other. Clearly they want to get a both fullback. But the difference in the body language of both Liverpool fullbacks is obvious. Gomez is saying to Doku, "You're getting it off me today." When I watch Kerkez defending against Semenyo, he's actually leaving a massive gap between him and Van Dijk, which is really poor defending. But basically what he's saying is, "I'm dealing with you today, Semenyo, and you're not getting the ball."
Van Dijk has the ball at his feet inside his own box, as now Konate picks up possession. So yeah, the 2 forwards drifting out wide, the 4-2-2, which is causing City issues, as Mark's been saying. Szoboszlai now through the legs of Bernardo Silva, but it doesn't go to a red shirt. Rodri picks up possession, and now it's into Cherki, and Matthias can sweep it out to Antoine Semenyo, who hasn't seen much of the ball so far. Now he'll play it square to Rodri. 0-0 on Total Sport. Busy Easter weekend. Got live Super League later, Warrington and Lee in action, but we're concentrating on the FA Cup for now. Bernardo Silva, edge of the Liverpool penalty area. Mark Gay is forward, Bernardo scrapping with it, and it's actually Mo Salah defensively doing some good work for Liverpool. Haaland puts Konate under pressure, and all he can do is turn it out for a throw-in near the corner flag, and now a chance maybe for Manchester City to put that Liverpool goal under pressure.
Yeah, they're very compact out of possession. Liverpool 4-4-2 with Salah and Ekitike up top. No real. I mean, look where the 2 strikers are now. They're 5 yards outside the defending box, which is so un-Liverpool. What's fascinating is Liverpool are actually playing in possession the way City did at Anfield.
Arne Slot is hands in pockets in his jacket, right on the edge of his technical area, looking very calm and cool at the moment as he watches on. Rodri slides it out to Matthias. Matthias will shoot right-footed as it opened up for him, but that one is down the throat of Mamardashvili in the Liverpool goal. And now the long ball, and Mo Salah tries to get in. Across comes Kusanov using that pace, so he hasn't got there. Here's Mo Salah, chance for Liverpool to make it 1-0, and Salah has just got the finish all wrong.
I was just going to say, that's a throw-in. That's an unbelievable, really poor from Kusanov to get done with one ball over the top, but his recovery was phenomenal. And listen, that's poor from Salah. He's got to take his shot earlier. He's got to bloody well score, but unbelievable for Kusanov. Talk about never ever giving up.
Yeah, well, when Mamardashvili released the ball, Salah did really well to bend his run to ensure that he stayed inside his own half, so he was onside. Kusanov came across, well, the ball bounced favourably for Salah. It was a tight angle, but he he tried to curl it with his left foot, and it ended up going out for a throw-in on the far side.
And Mark, ironically, the transition came because Kirkes is so worried about Semenyo, he left a massive gap for the City player to come in and actually take the shot.
Throw comes into the City box, Trafford comes out, doesn't get the punch on it that he wants though, and it's out now to Kirkes and Ekitike, and Liverpool will knock it into Wirtz. That's good. Nice 1-2 with Ekitike, gets it back. Wirtz, lovely football. Van Dijk on the edge of the City box. Curtis Jones, confident stuff this from the visitors. Gomez tries the cross into the City 18-yard box. It's charged down by Doku, and now Konate has the ball back on the halfway line. And Liverpool will look to go long again, this time for Wirtz. Gay's there to try and shepherd the ball through to Trafford. It bounces up, and Trafford is able to claim it with Wirtz charging him down.
From a neutral position, I think it's a brilliant game. It's high octane stuff, and what I am really pleased at, they've got the City are in for a game today. It looks like Liverpool have turned up today and have shown their abilities.
Yeah, Liverpool with more of the ball in the opening 15 minutes. Shading possession, more attempts on target. More attempts at goal. One apiece on target so far. 0-0. Manchester City against Liverpool, the first of the 4 FA Cup quarter-finals. 2 more to come today. Chelsea against Port Vale and Southampton against Arsenal. Both of those on BBC One. West Ham against Leeds tomorrow. Bernardo Silva into the box towards Cherki. He can't quite get there. In fact, he does manage to get his right toe on it. There's a Liverpool player down. It was Kirkes. He sort of managed to shield Mamardashvili from the ball. And now Liverpool will come on the break. Ekitike tries to release Salah. It's a game of basketball at the moment. Now Mo Salah driving into the City box. Szoboszlai's down, wanted a foul, but Salah still has it up against Gueye, who sticks out his right foot, and the decision goes Manchester City's way, and Gueye almost punches the air there in celebration. It is a goal kick.
Sorry, Mark. Liverpool have got a big problem with Kirkes. He's so worried about Semenyo. He's literally man-marking him, and the gap he's leaving through between him and Van Dijk, you could get an oil tanker through. The flip side of that is when nothing comes of it, Liverpool have got one thought in their mind, and that's a transition straight away. They're leaving Salah really up high, and that it's interesting. Liverpool are 4-4-2 out of possession, mid-block, counter-press, counter-attack, whereas City will get after the ball. So it's a very, very tactical affair.
Here's Erling Haaland driving towards the Liverpool penalty area. Still Haaland goes past another. Haaland square. Here's Cherki, goes down. Everyone looks at the referee. Haaland plays it out to Semenyo. He shoots. That's charged down by Kirkes. Cherki's got both arms in the air. Bernardo too, and Haaland. In fact, about 4 or 5 of the City players have. They feel they should have a penalty. At the moment, the game continues, and Doku's just knocked it out of play. And Michael Oliver is saying that VAR will check that. As we see a replay of it, it was Cherki inside the box. Kirkes maybe with a lazy leg that's dangling out there.
This is a really
tight one.
This is a really difficult one because
the game. Well, Liverpool wanted to restart the game, and now Salah is chasing after the ball. He's not happy because Michael Oliver's blown the whistle, and he's marching towards the halfway line. So I'm pretty sure the decision is no penalty. And then Liverpool quickly wanted to get on with the game, and the referee stopped them doing so.
That could have gone either way. I mean, he's got his leg out. I think unfortunately Cherki kind of falls over him, as in.
Well, the game.
Great start to the game, though.
Yeah, the game's restarted. It isn't a penalty. It's 0-0. Pep Guardiola, who is serving that touchline ban, has just turned around in the director's box and caught a replay of it on the monitor. And he's shaking his head and waving his arms around. He feels that should have been a penalty. Now there's ironic cheers from the home fans as City get a free kick awarded by Michael Oliver on the halfway line. Why have they decided VAR then, Paul Howard, the official, that isn't a penalty, Mark Kennedy?
Because to be fair to Kirkes, it was a standing foot, and he doesn't tackle him, he falls over it. So I get it. If it was a penalty, would I be going, I can't believe it? No. But personally, I think I would have felt more hard done by as the Liverpool coach if that was given against me, to be honest.
Bernardo Silva has it for Manchester City. Great atmosphere here at the Etihad. Sometimes these early kickoffs can take a while to bubble up, but this one is such a big game. Wembley awaits for the winners as Nico O'Reilly picks up the ball in the final third for Manchester City. Now it's back to Gueye, and he'll find Doku. Gomez against Doku on that touchline. Szoboszlai comes across to try and double up on Jeremy Doku, but he manages to wriggle out of that and feed it all the way back to Bernardo Silva. And then Liverpool get everyone behind the ball again. Rodri finds a little bit of space though. Now it's Mark Gueye, and now it's back to Kushinov. Haaland and O'Reilly the most advanced players for Manchester City at the moment. Semenyo with that high position on the right hand side, and he now receives the ball and he'll go at Kirkez again. Antoine Semenyo towards the corner flag. Wirtz comes across. I think he does pretty well in the end. The ball does come off him last though, and it will be another City corner. Manchester City 0, Liverpool 0.
Yeah, he's done well in 1v1 situation. And to be fair to Kirkez, he's actually although he's left-footed, but he's actually shown Semenyo inside. But Liverpool have just got to be careful of that big lane through the middle of Kirkez and Van Dijk.
Corner again. Let's see if Bernardo Silva can deliver a better ball than he did last time around. Haaland stood on the goal line right next to Mamardashvili. This one's got more fizz on it, but it doesn't beat that first post. Ekitike heads it away, and then the red shirts will scamper out, and Bernardo can't keep that ball in as Matthias tries to play it out to the right hand touchline. Cherky saying to him, and that should have come to me, and in the end it goes out for a Liverpool throw-in.
Yeah, an unforced error which didn't need to. He could have actually started again with James at the back there, but a magnificent start and atmosphere to the game, I have to say.
Yeah, we got some second half, didn't we, at Anfield, as we were reliving earlier back in February, and this game already showing signs that we could have the same kind of drama ahead. Salah for Liverpool, now Szoboszlai scored that incredible free kick that day, and he's been a real source of goals for Liverpool this season. Has Dominic Szoboszlai 12 of them in all competitions this season, and he's playing in that more advanced role rather than at full-back, which is where he operated that day. Curtis Jones gets it back from Konate, and now it's Gravenberg in the bright green boots into Jones, and that's a foul. That was a bit of a lazy challenge from Bernardo Silva, who caught him late, so it will be a free kick to Liverpool. Kolo Touré is the member of the Manchester City coaching staff who's out there now watching on, and Arne Slot's trying to get a message on to Kirkez on the halfway line. The Liverpool manager, Szoboszlai, will take this free kick from a deep position. He clips it in towards the edge of the penalty area. Rodri heads it away. Ekitike is going to be happy to let that one drift out on the left hand side for a Liverpool throw-in, almost level with the Manchester City penalty area. 0-0. We're almost a quarter of a way through this FA Cup quarter-final between two teams that have won this competition 15 times between them. Gomez now with a long throw. Haaland's back on the edge of the 6-yard line for Manchester City as Gomez prepares to load this in towards the penalty spot. Up goes Matthias, got it really well actually. Matthias gets the header away, and now it's Jones who'll nod it back to Kirkez for a second. Cherky looked like he was just going to get in there and win possession back for Manchester City, and in the end Liverpool just blasted out of play, and it will be a City throw-in halfway inside their own half.
Yeah, great start by Liverpool, I have to say. I like what they're doing, particularly in possession. They're causing City problems, and I just hope that, but what have we got, 22 minutes gone, City haven't quite figured it out yet.
Oh, Matthias has given the ball away again. He did it a second ago, and now Jones wins it back. Ekitike towards the edge of the box. Kushinov comes across. Strong challenge from the Uzbekistan defender. Brilliant work from Doku to shrug off Szoboszlai. Now Gravenberg pulled his shirt there, surely. Referee Michael Oliver will pull the game back, and that is going to be the first yellow card of this FA Cup quarter-final. Dished out by Michael Oliver to Gravenberg, and it will be a free kick to City on the halfway line.
It's really interesting, Mark. I've been watching Arne Slot on the side. He's been really emotional since the start of the in the game, and I mean that's a blatant yellow card there, and he's gone absolutely ballistic at the fourth official, which is ironic because his team's been outstanding. Relax, calm down and focus. Your team's been outstanding.
Well, he's got his hands back in his pockets now as Arne Slot, as Rodri pings this in towards Semenyo in the penalty area, and it runs through to Mamardashvili in the Liverpool goal. He's all in bright yellow today, and he's going to go for that early ball which we saw him play to great effect to Salah earlier in the game. Ekitike shrugs off Matthias, and now Wirtz has it on the halfway line looking for options to his right, and he can only feed it back to Virgil van Dijk, the skipper, who tries a long diagonal ball out towards Mo Salah. Cool back header from Salah there. Almost a no-look header that. Knocked it back to Gomez, and now Szoboszlai turns it out, and Van Dijk can take Liverpool across the halfway line. Remember, only 1 point from their past 3 games in the Premier League. Really poor performance at Brighton before the international break, but much better so far in this game, albeit without scoring yet. 24 minutes gone. City 0, Liverpool 0. Kirkez beats Cherky, and now Wirtz picks it up again into Jones, and now Kerkez has it for Liverpool on the left-hand touchline, and Jones will feed it back to Kerkez again. He actually scored in that game against Brighton, did Milos Kerkez. And now it's Curtis Jones, a man who scored a couple of times in the FA Cup so far this season for Liverpool. Barnsley, Brighton and Wolves they've beaten to get to this stage. Manchester City, Exeter, Salford, and that really impressive win at Newcastle in the 5th round. And again they'll look for Salah. Jones this time with the ball out towards him, but unlike Van Dijk, didn't get it right, and that'll run out for a City goal kick. And we played 25 minutes of this first FA Cup quarter-final, and it remains goalless for City and Liverpool winger Mark Kennedy alongside us.
It's been a funny game. I don't want to contradict myself. It's actually been a high octane game with very little inside the box, but it's a bit like you're watching a boxing match which you're waiting for it to explode, but it's not quite happened yet.
Maybe this is the moment as O'Reilly finds Doku. Oh, spoiler, it isn't the moment, because the offside flag has gone up away to our right hand side. So a free kick to Liverpool in their own half.
I do feel over this side, pitch side, dugout side, that Ekitike, Kerkez and Wirtz in particular causing City a few problems over on this side, which again they haven't quite figured out yet, with little rotations. 1 minute Ekitike's wide, then he's popping inside, Wirtz is picking it. One thing about Liverpool is every week it tends to be Szoboszlai, but Wirtz, he's almost got a free role. He's just going wherever he wants.
Good work from Gomez for Liverpool. Now, Jones missed his kick really, tried to play it forward for Kerkez. Ekitike picks up possession and rolls it back to Van Dijk. It's a cloudy, dry Saturday lunchtime here in East Manchester. City's first home game since that Real Madrid defeat in the Champions League, as we start the final furlong of the season. Now it's Mo Salah and his big farewell coming up over the next couple of months. Szoboszlai, edge of the area. Salah tries to cross it in. Jones takes it down, looking to lay it off to somebody. Rodri's there, and it falls for Ekitike. There's a heavy touch from Rodri, took it into the path of Ekitike, who lashed it right-footed. Plenty of power, but it was rising, and it rose just over James Trafford's crossbar.
That's a big opportunity missed. He's got to at least. I actually fancied him to score there. It would have been a great goal, but again, it all comes from Mark. I don't apologise. It's the overload in midfield. Wirtz in the pocket. The 4v3 in there is killing Liverpool at the minute. City.
Yeah, he caught it so sweetly, having seen the replay of that. Now, hang on, what's happened here? Well, I think the ball was... Well, Liverpool can't believe that. The ball was running out for a Liverpool throw-in. It bounced up. Semenyo kind of anticipated it was going to go out for a throw-in and basically picked the ball up. And then the Liverpool players thought it was before it had actually gone out of play. But the referee in the end has just given the throw-in, which the Liverpool fans don't like. And City, with Bernardo Silva, have won the ball back. He's on the deck. But actually, he's given it away again, and here's Curtis Jones into Kerkez, who jumps over the challenge from Cherky, and now it's Virgil van Dijk. City.
There you go again. There it is again.
Not quite got going, have they?
There it is again.
Here's Szoboszlai again, picking up that position in midfield. Ekitike wants this played into him. Ekitike lays it off. He's offside, and the flag's gone up. So free kick to Manchester City. But it's the same problem. Yeah,
the problem is, Mark, Liverpool are playing with no number 9, right? So the problem is when Wirtz comes into the pocket, it's an unnatural position for a centre-half to go in against him. But what they need to do is go all the way in with him. There's nobody behind you. So playing as two spare centre-halves playing against him, you're ineffective. One of them needs to go and step all the way. That's twice in a minute he's got in there.
Matthias has it for Manchester City. A couple of worrying moments in the last few minutes, and a big chance for Hugo Ekitike to give Liverpool the lead. Kerkez tries to go round Matthias on the left-hand touchline, and it's out for a Manchester City throw-in. All the legends are here today. Sir Kenny Dalglish and Ian Rush are watching on from a Liverpool perspective in the director's box. More the modern legends, Robbie Fowler and Joe Hart. Just to our right, Robbie Fowler played for both of these sides. O'Reilly's fed it to Doku, who's now into the Liverpool box, tries to square it back to O'Reilly. Szoboszlai's in there, intercepts, but all he can do is turn it out for a Manchester City corner as we approach the half-hour mark in the FA Cup quarter-finals.
Brilliant from Silva and Cherky. Set pieces, throw-ins are so big that people walk on this. A lovely little move, switch of play out to the side. Lovely from Szoboszlai to track back, completely wrong-footed though, and he's ended up pushing out for a corner, taking it with his weaker foot.
Doku and Cherki are over there. They'll play it short, will Manchester City. Cherki rolls it back to Bernardo Silva, square to O'Reilly, who collects possession, looks to create the angle for the shot, threads it into the box to Doku. His ball across with the outside of his right foot, nearly got to Haaland. Good work in there, I think, by Van Dijk in the end. Turns it out for a City throw-in. Seen very little from Erling Haaland so far. I know that's pretty common.
Yeah, and it's difficult as well with Liverpool being so compact and close. He doesn't touch the ball much anyway, but today it's going to be minimal. Yeah,
turned out by Rodri to Doku. Thought Rodri had his shirt pulled actually by Ekitike. Referee was happy for it to play on, and here's Bernardo Silva. And now Cherki again lays it off with his right foot to Rodri, who collects it and then whips it out to Semenyo. Here's Antoine Semenyo towards the byline. Right-footed cross, Mamardashvili palms it away, drops to Doku. Liverpool haven't cleared it. And then City have given it straight back to the team in red. And Ekitike and Curtis Jones will now try and get Liverpool out of their own half. Challenge comes in from Matis, so it is a throw into Liverpool. And then Mamardashvili sort of, perhaps he made that look a little bit more spectacular than it needed to be.
Yeah, but I was really pleased that you've gone on the outside and you've taken him down the line. You've got a good cross, and another day you get a striker across the front post. And once you take him outside a couple of times, he'll then allow you to come inside. But you have to ask, and I don't think Kerkez is a brilliant 1v1 defender, by the way.
Konate rolls it all the way back to Mamardashvili, who saved a penalty actually from Erling Haaland here in that game back in November when Liverpool were beaten 3-0. Arne Slot's not happy. He's having a go, wagging his finger at Michael Oliver, holding up two fingers. He thinks two decisions have gone against his team now. He thinks that Florian Wirtz should have had a free kick then.
He reminds me of Neil Warnock back in the day. They used to alternate. Warnock could go up, then he'd sit down. Ronnie Jefferson would go up, then he'd sit down. Then Black would go up. It was like a comedy sketch.
Well, that's definitely the first time I've heard Arne Slot compared to Neil Warnock.
If you watch it, go and watch it again, you'll go, now I see what you're saying.
Rodri has it for Manchester City. Neil Warnock's back in management, I think, at the moment.
Torquay.
At Torquay, yeah.
115 years of age as well.
And Roy Hodgson too at Bristol City. Still life in them yet. Here's Cherki trying to find the angle for the left-footed shot. Now he releases Haaland, edge of the Liverpool box, back to Mark Gahey. It's still goalless, live on BBC Radio Manchester's Total Sport and on BBC Sounds as Doku makes the overlapping run, but Cherki can't find him, and that drifts out for a Liverpool goal.
Yeah, you know what, this is going to be really, really frustrating for City, because the gaps. You're talking an elite level team you're playing against who are deep, compact, closing spaces. The only one space I keep saying is out on this left-hand Liverpool side. The best thing that City need to somehow is score a goal that then encourages Liverpool to come out. Otherwise you're going to be in a frustrating half, keeps the fans quiet, upsets people, and you kind of lose your rhythm a little bit as well.
Kusanov leaps, wins the header for City defensively. Now Haaland's got up there brilliantly to nod it down, Erling Haaland, as Rodri now goes past Wirtz, who's caught him. And then Slot goes again at Michael Oliver. He feels that Liverpool are consistently on the wrong end of these decisions. Or Neil Warnock, as we're calling him from now on.
No. Behaviour like Neil Warnock, not quite Neil Warnock. Cover my back there.
Rodri out to Mark Gahey for Manchester City. Son comes out again here at the Etihad Stadium. You're listening to Total Sport. Mark Crossley alongside the former City and Liverpool winger Mark Kennedy. Great work from Hugo Ekitike to release Kerkez down the left for Liverpool. He anticipated the challenge of Matthias and plays the ball off him for a Liverpool throw-in. And the referee, Michael Oliver, has just given Rodri a yellow card there. I'm presuming that was for an incident earlier on in the move. Yeah, he pulled back Hugo Ekitike. Both arms around him, was pulling his shirt with his left hand. So Rodri is the next player after Gravenberg to go into Michael Oliver's notebook, if that is still a thing. Referee Michael Oliver taking charge of City for the fourth time this season, incidentally. They're still yet to win in any of those games. Here is that Liverpool throw-in we've been waiting for. Gomez in towards the 6-yard box. City managed to clear it out towards the edge of the area. And now it's Curtis Jones who finds Joe Gomez on the left-hand side. He crosses it in. Van Dijk with a little flick. He was the most advanced player there, Virgil van Dijk. I don't know if he realised. It was a lovely bit of skill. Tried to knock it back with the inside of his foot for a teammate, but there was no one there. But some encouragement for the Liverpool fans. Stood away high in the gods to our right.
And Marco, honestly, this has all come from City being on attack and Semenyo completely just letting Kerkez run freely to create the overload or the triple width out on this side, which they got a throw in from. And they're still in Liverpool's final third because of it.
Ekitike's having a good game, another good bit of skill from him. Oh, now Curtis Jones tries to join in with another flick. That was misjudged, and City through Cherki, who's the king of those little flicks and tricks, win the ball back. And Kushinov and Bernardo should tidy things up. It's rolled back to James Trafford, who's put under pressure by Jones in his 6-yard box. We saw Trafford come a cropper against Spurs towards the start of the season in a situation like that, but City play the ball out well, as they so often do. Cherki involved, and then Rodri sweeps it out left-footed to Nico O'Reilly, who drives forward over the halfway line. Encouragement from the 50-odd thousand here inside the Etihad. Bernardo Silva towards the left-hand corner of that Liverpool box. He goes wide on his outside to Doku, who will just roll it back to Mark Gay. Decided not to go on the outside that time. Now Rodri, encouraged to shoot by the home fans, does shoot, blocked by Ekitike, drops to O'Reilly on the byline, and he tries to drive it back across the 6-yard box. It comes off Szoboszlai in the end, I think, and out for another Manchester City corner, but that's a bit better from the team in blue.
Yeah, and the two best chances for City have both come today from switch and play. When you're on one side, I'm stating the obvious, the structure of the opposition is over the other side, into midfield and out the other side, and you get your 1v1 situations. I would like to see City put some crosses in the box just to make Liverpool defend, because the spaces are so small in between. Can anybody get through? Yes, City can, but make him defend. The best action came from Semenyo on the right hand side, one cross, and as you said, keeper made a bit of a hash of it.
Corner to City from their left. This one's going to be an in-swinger from Cherki towards the near post. Mamardashvili came out for it, but didn't really need to, because Van Dijk got his big head on it and got plenty of distance on the header, and it drops all the way back to Bernardo Silva, 10 yards or so inside the City half, who carries it. Liverpool still camped on the edge of their own area. Bernardo goes past Jones, and now it's Semenyo back to Rodri. Corner of the box on the angle, inside to Matthias, who gets the ball back and lays it into O'Reilly on the penalty spot. He goes down. Referee Michael Oliver blows the whistle. And that is a penalty to Manchester City. And Virgil van Dijk cannot believe it. City get the penalty for the challenge on O'Reilly, and they'll get the chance to open the scoring in this FA Cup quarter-final.
Mark, and I'm sorry, I'll say it again, it wasn't Kirkus this side. They are worried sick about Semenyo. They completely leave that inside lane void. They allow him to come inside. Yeah, it's a poor tackle from there. But Liverpool are 4-4-2, low block. They're trying to make you play outside, and they're continually leaving that void in the left-hand lane of City, which allows them to drive in. That's really, really cheaper. As a coach watching that back, you'll be tearing your hair out.
It's a penalty, definitely, having seen the replay. It wasn't the best challenge from Virgil van Dijk, who's usually so good in those one-on-one situations. O'Reilly had the better of him, and he was clipped. Matthias, incidentally, didn't play a great ball at first, but it rebounded into his path. He knocked it into O'Reilly, and then on the penalty spot, pretty much dead on the penalty spot, was where the challenge came in from Virgil van Dijk. City have got a penalty 7.5 minutes before half-time. Erling Haaland has scored in his last 3 home games against Liverpool. He scored that pressure penalty late on at Anfield in the Premier League back in February to give City the double over Liverpool in the league, but he did miss in the league game here against Georgi Mamardashvili back in November. Haaland takes 2 paces back from the ball, and he strikes it left-footed into the corner, sends Mamardashvili the wrong way. Erling Haaland scores his 31st goal of the season for Manchester City, and they take the lead in this FA Cup quarter-final. City 1, Liverpool 0.
Brilliant, and it's really what City needed, because Liverpool are now, it's a cup game, getting a draw, you need to come out at some point. They're going to have to come out and maybe expose themselves a tad. There's a long way to go in the game for sure, but I think from a City point of view, that's the best thing that could have happened in the game for them, because Liverpool can't just sit back, and I can't imagine Liverpool just sitting back till the 70th minute and going, right, we'll have a go now. It's too late.
Haaland tucked it away beautifully, low to Mamardashvili's left. He went the wrong way, and then he raced off towards the corner flag to celebrate, both arms aloft in the air. The man who leads the charts in the Premier League this season and in the World Cup qualifiers, of course. We'll see him with Norway at his first World Cup this summer, and he's given City the lead. Arne Slot just sort of went back to his seat, shouting and ranting away after the penalty was conceded. And Liverpool, who've played quite well in this first 40 minutes, find themselves a goal down 5 minutes before half-time. And Nico O'Reilly again just getting into such advanced positions from left back, and he won the penalty that Haaland converted. Rodri for Manchester City finds Bernardo Silva.
I'm laughing, there's 39 minutes gone. I think that was his 5th touch of the ball.
That's a pretty good 5th touch. We said he hadn't really been involved. Well, hang on a minute. This is a 6th, 7th and 8th touch from Haaland towards the edge of the box. Tries to play it into O'Reilly again. How is he the furthest player forward? He just finds himself up there so consistently. Liverpool on the counter-attack with Ekitike. Will go at Kushner on the Liverpool left. Good challenge from Kushner. Good recovery challenge. We see it so often. Actually gets a big round of applause from Nathan Ake, who's warming up level with the edge of the City penalty area, and it is out for a Liverpool throw-in. And lots to think about for Arne Slot as he ponders what he's going to say to his team in the dressing rooms below us in the next few minutes. 5 minutes until half-time as Gomez does well to scoop that out and keep the ball in play for Liverpool. Konate just blasts it long downfield towards Wirtz. That was a bit of a hopeful ball. City have won it back, and now Rodri and Kushner exchange passes. And Nico O'Reilly again involved, as he was at Wembley 2 weeks ago. Won the penalty that Haaland's converted, and Manchester City lead here by 1-0.
Yeah, it's interesting. Everybody's got a game plan until you concede a bit. I think Mike Tyson famously said everybody's got a game plan until you get punched in the nose. It'd be interesting to see how Liverpool react to this now, having gone 1-0 down.
Well, there's usually plenty of goals when these two teams meet. 18 of the last 19 games have produced 2 or more, so you would suspect that will not be the final goal of the game. But Manchester City would be very happy if it was, because it would mean another trip to Wembley. 3 weeks away, those FA Cup semi-finals, weekend of the 25th and 26th, so they come after the Arsenal game here the previous weekend. Here's Antoine Semenyo for Manchester City towards the corner flag. He's got Kirkes hot in pursuit, finds Cherki, who lays it back to Rodri. O'Reilly and Haaland, the 2 most advanced players again. Gueye now for City back in the starting lineup today. He won the FA Cup, of course, with Crystal Palace last season and lifted the trophy. On the opposite side of things, and now he gets it back from Rodri, and now into Jeremy Doku. And now Mark Gueye again will go long diagonally towards Cherki. He's picking up those positions. Oh, lovely flick from Cherki into Matthias on the byline. His cross has got too much on it, headed away by Gomez. Every so often he just produces a little flick or a little trick that just gets the crowd off their seats.
It was brilliant, and it's just a shame the cross didn't complement the skill.
Cherki has it again, although Ben White certainly didn't like what he did in the cup final, did he, a couple of weeks ago, with a bit of showboating there. Now Rodri for City with a long floaty ball out to Bernardo Silva, who chests it down on the right hand touchline. City shooting left to right as we look in the first half. Matthias rolls it into Semenyo. Liverpool not really had the ball since the goal. Semenyo will now go to the byline, and he stands this one up towards O'Reilly at the back stick. O'Reilly's in there, it drops. Doku will keep it in play for City on the byline, turns it back to Rodri, and it goes to Cherki towards the 6-yard line, and Cherki just gets his feet in a bit of a muddle and then can't keep the ball in play as it runs out for a Liverpool goal kick. But Liverpool have been pretty good for a lot of this first half, but since the goal they've not really had a kick.
No, they've been excellent. They've been really, really good. But again, in the last minute, you see they've taken Kirkes on twice. They got 2 crosses in the box. I do think they can really expose him on this side if they get at him.
Well, the ball's played long by Mamadashvili. It's already back with Manchester City, and Rodri will carry it forward. Remember, at half-time we'll get some of your messages. Let us know what you've made of it so far at BBC RM Sport on X. You can WhatsApp 08000 321 333. Start your message with the word Mank. Bill Rice also with us here at the Etihad. City with a long ball forward towards Doku. There's no offside, but the decision has gone in Liverpool's favour. I think maybe for a push by the Belgian. Michael Oliver's just explaining the decision to him. And of course we'll, in addition to your thoughts at half-time, we'll have your thoughts at the end of the game and plenty of reaction later on BBC Sounds. We have a special Manchester City feed on there. All you need to do is search for Manchester City, click subscribe, and you'll get all the post-match, pre-match interviews, news and analysis every single week direct to your smartphone. as Mamardashvili goes long towards Ekitike. Kushanov knocks it down to Rodri. Pretty soon we'll see the fourth official here, Paul Tierney, and we'll find out how much added time we will get at the end of this first half. O'Reilly's down, as is Szoboszlai, and that time Michael Oliver is happy for Liverpool to have the throw-in as Joe Gomez prepares to take it, and it's thrown back to Canate, level with the edge of his own box. And Pep Lijnders on the touchline, but Pep Guardiola is watching on above us here at the Etihad, and he was filmed celebrating pretty animatedly after the penalty was tucked away by Haaland. There's going to be 2 added minutes at the end of this first half. Michael Oliver's given another decision in Liverpool's favour. Slot goes again at the fourth official as Liverpool go long towards Ekitike on the left-hand side. He'll do well to keep this in, actually, towards the corner flag, towards the byline. And I said he'd do well to keep it in, and he wasn't able to.
To be fair to Arne Slot, I'd be really angry myself. Kerkez, he found himself in that pocket again, back foot and play, and the referee's dragged him back. He's done City a right favour there.
Rodri has it for Manchester City. 90 seconds left of this first half then, and City, most people would have had as big favourites here today. Excellent home record this season, excellent home record in the FA Cup, and they have the lead as they try and find Haaland with a floated ball. Van Dijk, who conceded the penalty, did well there to nod it away, and Curtis Jones collects the loose ball for Liverpool, but he's not really got many options at the moment. Semenyo puts a boot in, and that will be a Liverpool throw level with their own penalty area.
Yeah, and you know what's interesting? Since City have scored, nothing's really happened that much, but Liverpool look a lot more expansive now. That 4-4-2's kind of gone out the window. The front three seem to be a little bit higher now with Wirtz, Ekitike and Salah, and it's just knocked them out of their shape a little bit.
Kerkez will take this throw in down the line towards Szoboszlai, and Ekitike, the man who had that great chance to put Liverpool one ahead in this game, couldn't take it. And then Manchester City, through Haaland's penalty, were able to do so at the other end. Matthias picking up a similar position to the one he was in just before that goal. And now it's Semenyo on the byline, stands it up, and there's Erling Haaland, and it's 2-0, and Liverpool switched off in the seconds before half-time, and Manchester City pounced and have taken a huge step towards another FA Cup semi-final. Semenyo hangs it up, Haaland's header into the far corner. Liverpool look dejected, City are jubilant. City 2, Liverpool 0.
I'm not going to apologise and say I told you so, but I told you so. If you get a Kerkez down this side, I'm telling you, you'll get crosses in the box. And I said it a few minutes ago, a ball come in the box. I said another time you get a striker across the near post, and they do it here. 2v1s, Wirtz has switched off, he's let him run. There you go.
What a header as well.
Brilliant. But it's not the header, it's the run. Near post, you've got to go near post.
It was Cherki, lovely ball with his right foot to Semenyo, who hung up the cross. It was Haaland v Canate that time, and Erling Haaland has just made the run, and then he's just powered the header into that far corner. Mamardashvili just couldn't get there. Pep Lijnders on the touchline celebrating. Pretty sure Pep Guardiola above him too, and City lead by 2-0.
Pep Lijnders shown there's no such thing in loyalty to football. But you know what really annoyed me? Basics. 1v1 outside, Wirtz, you let him run, you don't help your fullback. Cross comes in, Van Dijk, you don't close the space, you go and tackle with the wrong foot. And 1v1 defending in the box, Canate, you're not doing the job. If that was under 15s, you'd be tearing your hair out. Erling
Haaland has taken his hairband off as he walks down the tunnel with all the cameras on him, as they always are. And a little smile towards the camera as well from Manchester City's number 9. First, the penalty conceded by Virgil van Dijk for the foul on Nico O'Reilly. Haaland tucked it away, and then in what could be a decisive moment in this tie, seconds before half-time, Semenyo's cross, Haaland's header, and Manchester City lead Liverpool at half-time here by 2-0.
Liverpool actually started that game quite well, but City have finished it so strongly that half. And that second goal, that feels like a really decisive blow, Mark Kennedy. And it was a great move, great run from Haaland, great build-up down the right by City. And they've punished Liverpool right in the final knock-ins.
Yeah, brilliant from City. I think Liverpool will be kicking themselves. They've had a couple of ones. Ekitike in the first half, he's got to at least hit the target. I actually fancied him score what would have been a great goal, so it was a difficult finish, but doesn't work. Like James Trafford's not had a save to make. Verts a couple of times, you won't quite see it. I don't think everybody will see it. He has found himself in a couple of brilliant positions in the final third, and he's come back each time. Never come back. Take your first touch forward, get your shot off. And I think they've turned down good. Liverpool are going to have to make some changes at half time. Curtis Jones, I'm a big fan, but he's so safe in his passing. He's got to be aggressive. He's got to take risks. He's really, really safe in his passing. And I feel for Liverpool because actually the game plan out of possession was really, really good. They looked really good on transition. But football's all about, you judged on one thing, end product. Haaland's had, well, apart from Marky killed me, in one action he had about 4 touches. Apart from that, right, moment, if you take that out, I think he's had 6 touches of the ball and scored 2.
Yeah, I mean, 2 really important touches, which is smashing it in from 12 yards and a header into the top corner.
That's what you judged on. 100%. I couldn't agree more with you. No point in having a player who's got 2 centre halves having 170 touches. It's what you do with the ball, and that's what I'm saying about Curtis Jones. 2 of Haaland's touches is putting the ball in the back of the net. Curtis Jones has been really safe in his passing. He's such a good player. His ball retention is outstanding. But what will kill Liverpool? The team talk you have at half time, with a minute before half-time, and the team talk you're now having, they're chalk and cheese now. Because you're 2-0 down in the cup game.
Well, they're gonna have to gamble from here, and that 100%. Only plays into City's hands. For Manchester City, it wasn't a great 45 minutes, it has to be said, but even before the penalty they scored, they arguably could have had another one when Kirkez looked like he caught Cherky inside the penalty area. So maybe it was just a matter of time until they got that breakthrough.
Yeah, so just on the former question, I think Liverpool deserve a lot of credit. They were 4-4-2, low block, really compact, no spaces. City weren't getting a ball outside and having a look at both full-backs to see if they're good enough. So I think Liverpool deserve a huge amount of credit for the game plan and then looking to hit them on the transition. But once they got the goal, I'm telling you, if you watch the game back after City score,
different team.
Liverpool's 4-4-2's gone. There's Ekitike and Salah and Verts playing a little bit higher. There's bigger gaps. There's more control. And then all of a sudden, I'll tell you what City did really well. They started switching the ball with longer passes. Rodri starts hitting a couple of diagonals. So you're going from high pressure to low pressure. And then 1v1 situations. I'm telling you now, please listen to me. Get at that left back at every opportunity.
I was going to ask you when City scored whether they deserve to be in front. They're 2-0 up at the break. They're in complete control now, aren't they?
Yeah, like, forgive me. Please don't take this literal and shoot me down. The game's over. The game's over. But
should be. It
should be. If City play to their potential and play to the level, the game's done. But like you say, what's the most dangerous scoreline in football? You tell us when it's 2-0.
I mean, I'd be more worried at 1-0, but I take your point.
Yeah, 2-0. But do you know what? It's interesting. And City are really good at it. I speak to a couple of clubs that are really, really big on stats, and they're really big on when you're 2-0, go and get the third goal, go and put it to bed. And the one thing's for sure, if there's a club out there that will go and look for the next goal, so the City are not a club that are going to sit and hold on, and then all of a sudden you concede and it's 2-1, and oh my God, we're in the semi-final. Now we go. City. The one thing City will do is go and try and get a third goal, and what will really play into their hands, if I'm Pep Guardiola, hopefully Liverpool have got to come out now. They cannot wait until the 70th minute and say stay in the game, keep it tight, 0-0, 1-1, and we may go for a 1-0 down. They need this is a fact, and I'm Irish, even I know this, they need 3 goals to get into the next round unless it goes to pens.
Yeah, very true. Pep Linders and Pep Guardiola will be absolutely delighted to be 2-0 up at the break. Arne Slot might feel a little bit sorry for himself that things haven't gone in his side's favour. They did start the game well, and Mo Salah had an early opportunity, didn't he, in the penalty. He seemed to have so much time, decided to go with his left foot rather than his right, and actually credit to Kusanov, who got back and got a crucial touch on it to stop him scoring. If that goes in, who knows, could be very different.
Yeah, I don't want to be too negative. It's almost criminal he didn't get a shot earlier. A player of that ilk and experience, you have to figure out what time it is where the player's close enough to get a nudge or a touch. You've got to take your shot. He really should have had a goal there, because I'm guessing he was 7-8 yards out with his level, but the fact that he allows Kusanov, it was actually really poor defending from Kusanov. He gets caught completely roadside,
but he recovered.
His pace is ridiculous, by the way. He really is electric, and it's a great advertisement to kids when you say no matter what happens, never give up, never trust your goalie to make a save and help you. But Liverpool, whilst Trafford hasn't had a save to make, Liverpool had a 2 or 3 really good moments where if I'm Arne Slot stood on the side, I'm like going, take your shot, pull the trigger, get your shot off, got to hit the target, and they haven't done that today.
Those are the margins in football, and City have taken their chances when they came. Didn't get the first penalty. No argument with the second one. I mean, Van Dijk clearly caught O'Reilly, didn't he?
Apologies. It was quite from where we are. I can't quite see. It was quite congested and that. But I looked at the referee's position and always look at the reaction to the players. I didn't feel the first one with Kerkez. Personally, I didn't feel it was a penalty, but I could understand it was given. But the second one was definitely a penalty. And it just sums Liverpool up, because I've been saying for the whole game, it wasn't actually Kerkez at the time, but they're so worried about Semenyo out this side, they completely leave a huge lane for the City player to come inside. And once he comes inside, and those mistakes, Van Dijk didn't do that last year. He didn't do it the year before. But they're making the players. Van Dijk's facing the play. There's no need to actually challenge him there. When you put your foot in, you've got to win the ball. And that's very uncharacteristic, for me, when I look at Van Dijk, such a grade A player.
And we mentioned Haaland. Mohamed really saved his penalty here in the league game earlier in the season. Not this time. Sent the keeper the wrong way from the spot. And then the header just before half-time. I mean, he might not touch the ball very much, but he's a match winner.
Oh, he's brilliant. He's a world-class striker. I've probably said this a few times since I've been doing City games, and I think because of the level of players you can say it, Amanda, I think he's a generational talent. I think he'll be somebody that, from the time he started playing for I think you'll be talking about one of the best strikers for 25 years. I think he's up there with those guys and will be in the future. But I remember watching City away. I think it was last year when they played. Was it last year, the year before, when they played Leicester away? He scored an unbelievable header at Leicester. I mean, for such a big lad, I'm surprised City don't put more crosses in the box. What is he, 6'4"?
I don't know how tall he is, but he looks big.
He's a big boy. He's extraordinary in the air. He's as good in the air as he is on the ground. And one of my mini frustrations would be, I'd like to see City put more crosses. They almost look for the perfect goal all the time. But he showed in 1v1 situations how good he is. And what a lot of people won't appreciate, and people, knowledgeable football fans, which we have got around the ground with City and Liverpool, it's his movement that scores the goal. It's incredible. Things that you teach when you're very, very young. Get across the near post, get across the near. Because what you do is, if he doesn't win it and it goes over his head, you pin the keeper. City are famous for it. Aguero crossed the front post, ball comes across, keeper's pinned at the front post, and you see the smallest player in the pitch scoring a header in the middle of the goal. You see Sterling, David Silva, Bernardo Silva, Foden. I'm fed up seeing them scoring headers out, and they're the smallest people in the world. But it's the movement to get across the front post that gets you that.
Let's have a look at some of your texts and tweets coming into @BBC RM Sport on that first 45 minutes. Toba says Kusanov is a top player. Chelsea almost ruined him, but he is showing his potential. Terry says great finish to the first half. Cherky, such a brilliant maverick of a player. More of the same second half, please. What do you make of Ryan Cherky, Mark? I mean, he's one of them players. I don't want to say a kind of player that fans pay to watch, because you pay to watch all of them, but he is the kind of player that gets you up off your seat. He is exciting to watch, isn't he?
Yeah, he's top draw, undoubted ability, but when you're playing any player, particularly at this level, you have to be able to trust them. So there's lots of players out there, but I could name you a million players with unbelievable ability, and you go, just I don't know him. There's a reason why you don't know him. He never played football. You have to be able to trust him. So I think it's taken a little bit of time, a little bit slower. He's probably had ridiculous freedom at his other clubs, and his ability has probably just got him in the team alone. You're now playing for a manager who, out of possession, and for all people think Pep's an in-possession coach, he's phenomenal out of possession. You're now playing for a manager who wants the same out of possession as well. And I think he's probably got to a level now where he's shown the manager in training every day, you can trust me, so now you need to pick me. But he's an example of why Phil Foden's not in the team when you look at that level of ability.
Darren Huckabee on social media says, how is that not a penalty? That was the first one when Kerkez caught Cherky, not given by referee Michael Oliver. Not enough evidence that it was clear and obvious to overturn it by the VAR. And Liz says, we're better with James Trafford in goal. It needs to be said. Well, I mean, he's had virtually nothing to do, so it's kind of hard to judge him on this performance, but that's interesting. Liz, the City fan, prefers Trafford to Donnarumma.
I think Traff's a number, I have to be respectful because I don't know, but when I look at Liverpool's number 2, I see a number 2. James Trafford is a number 1 keeper. But what's interesting, Liz, I don't know whether you're at the game, I actually watched Donnarumma in the warm-up. They did shooting for about 10 minutes. Not one player scored a goal against him. He just save. And I was laughing up here watching. You've got 2 great number 1 keepers.
which is great if you can give them both enough games to keep them happy. But you can understand why other clubs would like to take Trafford as a number one, because he looks like someone that should be playing week in, week out.
He is a number one. He's got everything. And the other thing for Trafford is that the limit he's got is, do I sit a City and play potentially second fiddle to arguably the best goalkeeper in the world, and do I be patient and wait? But sometimes you can be waiting and waiting before you know it, there's 3 years down the line. You want to look back in your career. Can you have played for 20 years? Can you have 500 games? Please God, you win a few things along the way. If I was James or his dad, of course I'd be really patient. But if I was James' dad, I'd be saying, son, we need you to be playing football. And if James wanted to, he can easily be playing for a top 6, top 4 club if he decides that. But respectfully, I don't know what's going on at Man City and what the plan is, and I'm sure they've got one for him. The problem he's got is he's a number one keeper and he's playing a number 2 position at the minute.
Just looking at those Liverpool substitutes going through their warm-ups at half-time here. Jeremy Frimpong is out there. They've got Cody Gakpo, perhaps. Rio Ngamoa as well. Andy Robertson. They're going to have to change something, aren't they? They're going to have to change something, if not personnel, tactically in the second half, because if they carry on as they were, they're going out of the FA Cup.
Well, the problem they've got is if they just sit back 4-4-2 and low block, they're not going to have the ball, and before you know it, there'll be 20 minutes taken out of a game where you're just shuffling from side to side. Transitionally, I think they have caused City a few problems because they've done something completely differently tactically. That'll get nailed in half-time at fix, so that doesn't happen again. My worry for Liverpool is, whilst they've got good players on the bench, I don't see anybody coming on and go, it's not like they're bringing on a young Mo Salah. You know, I don't see, like, Jeremy, Gakpo, McAllister. I don't see real grade A match winners there. I'm not saying they can't come on and affect the game because they're good players, but I don't think anybody's going to come on and frighten the life out of you. I don't think Liverpool have got 3 players on the bench that are going to come on and make them considerably better, in my opinion.
Well, City are halfway towards another FA Cup semi-final. It will be 8 in a row. They are 45 minutes away. City 2, Liverpool 0. The half-time score at the Etihad Stadium on Total Sport. Lancashire's cricketers also in action, of course. It's their opening game of the County Championship. They're away at Northants on day 2. The latest comes from Scott Reed.
Well, a sensational spell of bowling in the morning session by James Anderson, reducing Northamptonshire to 52 for 5 at lunch. Anderson picking up the wickets of Ricardo Vasconcelos, Calvin Harrison, Saif Zabe and James Sales. It really was a masterclass from Jimmy from the Indal school end. At the other end, Tom Bailey finding the wicket of Luke Proctor to get the whole thing going for Lancashire, who are enjoying a dominant day so far on day 2. Northants 52 for 5, trail Lancashire by 332 runs.
Thank you very much, Scott. Ball-by-ball commentary of every Lancashire game this summer available via the BBC Sport website and app. We've got Super League commentary from 3 this afternoon as Lee Leopards take on the Warrington Wolves. And the second half on the way next of Manchester City against Liverpool.
Saturday and Sunday mornings with Phil Trow.
There's lots of different ways that apparently you can flirt. Daisy, are you a good flirter?
I've not flirted for blinking
Have you
years.
not?
Maybe I'm doing it and I don't know.
There's little signs, isn't there, you know, like the cheeky little laugh. Yeah.
As a family, we've gone to Antibes for years and years and years in the south of France. We were regulars at this restaurant for years, and the owner, I said to him one night, what do you do, you know, in the winter? And he said, pompier, I mean, a fireman. And everybody looked at me because I went, ooh, pompier.
Phil Trow.
That's a proper flirt, isn't it? Proper flirt. Yeah.
Saturday and Sunday mornings
on BBC Radio Manchester.
Total Sport.
BBC Radio Manchester.
Manchester City are 45 minutes away from a piece of history. They have never beaten Liverpool 3 times in one single season before, but after a league double home and away over their rivals from the other end of the East Lancs Road, they are now 2 goals to the good and heading towards the FA Cup semi-final. Can they complete the job and book another trip to Wembley? Your commentary team for the second half on BBC Radio Manchester, the former City and Liverpool winger Mark Kennedy and Mark Crossley.
Yeah, and Liverpool were out a good couple of minutes before Manchester City were, as Michael Oliver just does some final checks and blows his whistle, and we get back underway in the second half of the 45 minutes that closed, well, with a fantastic little spell from Manchester City and a fantastic little spell from Erling Haaland. The Blues have got 1 foot in another Wembley semi-final. And that would be 8 on the spin in this competition, which is quite something. But also break another record as well in terms of home wins in the FA Cup. It would be 18 wins in a row at the Etihad in the FA Cup, and that would surpass a record that had stood since 1881 by a team called Clapham Rovers, who I must admit, Mark Kennedy, I've never heard of.
I thought you were going to say are now called Tottenham Hotspur or something. But no, me either.
Let me give you the City team then. They lead 2-0 here. James Trafford's the goalkeeper. Matthias, Gay, Kusanov and O'Reilly are the back four as Liverpool just win a throw-in on the right-hand side. Midfield is Bernardo and Rodri, Cherki, Doku and Semenyo behind the man who scored twice, Erling Haaland, as Wirtz thinks he should have had a corner there, and the City fans ironically cheer as the decision goes their way. There's a bit of a wrestle between him and Kusanov. He seems to, he nearly took Kusanov's shirt off there. The decision in the end went in City's favour, and they have cleared the ball downfield. So Liverpool, Mamardashvili in goal, Gomez, Van Dijk, the man who conceded the penalty, the skipper, Kanate and Kirkes the back four, Gravenberg and Jones in midfield, Salah, Szoboszlai and Wirtz behind Hugo Ekitike up front, and Mo Salah has possession for Liverpool. Good ball with the outside of his foot towards Gomez. O'Reilly comes across, and then Gomez has been penalised. He can't believe it for a late challenge on O'Reilly. Curtis Jones complains, and the second half begins as it ended with Arne Slot straight out of his dugout to remonstrate with the referee.
Yeah, I do feel for Arne Slot. I thought that was a corner. I think the referee's got himself out of a potentially difficult argument, but for me that should have been a Liverpool corner.
Well, it wasn't given, and Slot is not happy at all with some of the decisions that have come from Michael Oliver in this first half. But Manchester City are in control thanks to those 2 goals from Erling Haaland, who just loves playing against Liverpool and loves playing in the FA Cup as well. Bernardo Silva with possession for City, who are in the traditional sky blue and white, that white stripe diagonally down the front of the shirt, blue socks. Liverpool all in red. City shooting right to left towards the north stand, which still waits to be fully opened with the top tier. It will take the capacity of this stadium up even further, and Liverpool shoot left to right towards the end, which houses their big travelling support today in the second and third tiers of the Etihad. But at the moment they're stood there looking rather glumly, a lot of them, hands in pockets. Cherki's got the ball on the right hand side for Manchester City, up against Wirtz, and Haaland and Semenyo wait for another opportunity to put that back line under pressure. Rodri now has it. He's one of 2 players that have gone in the book in the first half, Gravenberg the other, and he finds Nico O'Reilly, who's come across to his more traditional position of left back, although he's been playing so high up in this first half as he does. Rodri threads the ball through to Bernardo Silva, who now feeds it out to Doku, but heavy touch there from the City captain, who puts both hands over his face, and it's out for a Liverpool throw in their right back position. Alongside us for commentary, the former Manchester City and Liverpool winger Mark Kennedy.
Yeah, City have started really well there. I don't know, again, I'm just looking at Liverpool there. When City are in possession, the front 3 are staying up high. Whether that's a tactical thing or they've just gone a bit lazily because they're 2-0 down, I don't know. Something to keep an eye on. But City have started to control the game pretty well so far.
Mark Gay knocks it down to O'Reilly. Oh, lovely spin from Cherki, threads it through. Semenyo for 3! Antoine Semenyo kills off Liverpool and sends Manchester City back to Wembley. A lovely clip finish past Mamardashvili. 2 quick goals at the end of the first half and one right at the start of the second half seemed to have done for Liverpool. Semenyo with the third. Surely that's game over, and City are going to Wembley. City 3, Liverpool 0.
I said it was game over at 2-0, but I think it is game over now. It's a brilliant run, and it's interesting. I just said it, I'm telling you now, those little gaps are just opened up a little more. Lovely little pocket where he's found. Magnificent run, and fair play, he's onside, because when it happened, I thought he might have been just a... What a finish, by the way. Absolutely brilliant. And do you know what? I feel for Arne Slot, because you come in at half-time, you have your team talk, you talk about A, B and C, you maybe fix a couple of things, you change a couple of things, and within 2 minutes that talk's gone out the window completely. Now I don't want to say it, but it could be about pride now.
Yeah, it was Cherki again with the assist, and Semenyo with the devastating finish, and he's just scoring goals for fun, isn't he? Since arriving at Manchester City, In fact, with the goals he scored at Bournemouth, that's now 18 for the season from Antoine Semenyo. And you won't find many better finishes than that. As Mark was saying, Mamardashvili came out and it was just a beautiful caress finish into the back of the net. And Liverpool are staring down the barrel here, let's be honest.
City have just got to be careful here. You're 3-0 up, you're in the semi-final, you're at home, you're in total control, the team haven't laid a glove on you. Do not get complacent, and I know they won't, and I know the manager, but they have to make sure they're aware of that, constantly keep pushing and telling each other.
There's now 8 goals for Semenyo since his arrival in January. Here come Liverpool though, looking to hit back. Mo Salah into the penalty area. Salah shoots, big save from James Trafford, low down to his right hand side. It's cleared away, but it's still in play. Gomez has it. That's the first real thing Trafford's had to do today, and he did it really well. Salah will be disappointed having found himself in that position. He didn't score. Here comes the cross back into the City area. It runs beyond the far post. Hugo Ekitike will keep it in for Liverpool on that left-hand side. But Mo Salah possibly should have done better.
Do you know what? I'm going to actually cut him some slack. I thought he'd done really well. It was a brilliant run, a good finish, and I thought Traff's pulled off a brilliant save there. That's just my opinion.
Well, we'll wait and see the replay in just a second on our monitor here in the commentary position. We're just left of the halfway line in the Colin Bell stand as Cherki breezes past Szoboszlai and now past Kirkes. What a start to the second half from Ryan Cherki, just teasing Liverpool into Semenyo again. What a goal that would have been. Semenyo's first touch wasn't great though, and he slams his fist against the turf as the ball just runs away from him, and Mamardashvili collects, much to Liverpool's relief.
It was actually lovely one-put touch play in the middle of the field with Rodri. Rodri's played in second gear here, by the way. Looks really, really high-level player, and outstanding from Turkey.
Liverpool
this will suit City if Liverpool want to go punch for punch. I think this will really suit City.
Liverpool have just given the ball straight back to City. Rodri, within a few seconds, are on the edge of the Liverpool box again. Cherki clips it up towards Haaland. Curtis Jones is in there to nod the ball back to his goalkeeper. But Liverpool have got to stop giving the ball away. Szoboszlai now has it again for the team in red. Pep Guardiola looks incredibly relaxed. In fact, he's on the phone at the moment in the director's box, presuming it's to someone on the technical area rather than a personal call. More of the same, lads, I think is what he's saying.
He's on the phone to Thomas Cook.
Well, he is very bronzed. He's just been away, I think, during this international break. Semenyo from inside his own half. He's spotting Mamardashvili off his line. Semenyo shoots. Brilliant. And for a brief second, Mamardashvili was concerned. He backpedaled. It landed on the roof of the net. An audacious effort inside his own half from Antoine Semenyo.
Brilliant. Do you know what? From here we can say he looked up so early and had looked really intelligent play. Just goes to show you the confidence.
Long ball from Gravenberg towards Salah, and out comes Trafford's sweeper keeper with the header away on the edge of his own penalty area, and that's out for a Liverpool throw. And James Trafford's not had much to do, but everything he's had to do, he's done really, really well.
Honestly, he is a grade A keeper. He's the unluckiest man in the world to be here behind the number one Donnarumma.
Yeah, and Donnarumma's had a difficult week himself with Italy, the captain of Italy. They lost on penalties. As soon as I saw that had gone to a penalty shootout the other night, Bosnia against Italy, I thought he's going to be the hero.
You would think so, because of the side of them. So taking a penalty against him, you're nervous before it starts. To be fair to him, I think he pulled off a stack of saves in the game. He
did. Maybe I've just got a bit of PTSD after the penalty shootout in the Euros final back in 2021. Here's Wirtz for Liverpool. Manchester City 3, Liverpool 0 in the FA Cup quarter-finals. Liverpool on the attack though. Mo Salah found himself in space inside the penalty area, same position from which he just tested Trafford, but this time he wrapped his left foot around it, but he's put it high and wide. He's got to score for his ability and his level, and worst case scenario, you've got to make the keeper make a save for sure. We're seeing a replay of the first save. That's a good save. The first effort, from Salah. The save from Trafford. Got down really low, didn't he? Well, strong right hand. And also, Mark, Traff's 6'5" and he's at full stretch. Yeah, he's an extremely cool character, is James Trafford. We spoke to him in the tunnel at Wembley after the Carabao Cup final, and then went away and his first full senior England cap in that friendly against Uruguay. And he spoke after that game about being the son of a farmer from Northwest Cumbria, who's gone to represent his country, extremely confident, and rightly so, with the performances he's putting in for club and country at the moment. Manchester City have the ball through Bernardo Silva. They lead here by 3-0. 10 minutes gone in the second half. Live on BBC Radio Manchester, on Total Sport and on BBC Sounds. You can take our commentary with you anywhere in the UK this afternoon. Thanks for joining us. If you're listening for the first time, we are the home of every single Manchester City game, and there's so many big ones to come in the Premier League between now and the end of the season. No European games, but still the title race and still the FA Cup as well. And we'll wait and see who they'll face in the semi-finals. We've got one contest between West Ham and Leeds that's pretty even to call. Arsenal and Chelsea will be the big favourites in the other 2 quarter-finals. Here's Nico O'Reilly, the man who's already had an incredible day at Wembley so far this season for City. Now Doku, back to O'Reilly. He's clean through. O'Reilly squares it. There's the hat-trick for Erling Haaland. Manchester City are running riot in the FA Cup quarter-finals, and Haaland, who is like a action figure at times, is the hat-trick hero for Manchester City. He lashes it in to the roof of the net, and City have hit Liverpool for 4. City 4, Liverpool 0.
I'm sorry, when they broke away and City on the attack, I was pointing at the halfway line mark to say to you, 4 Liverpool players stood up on the halfway line, not tracking back. Whilst I appreciate you can't sit back 4-4-2 low block, you cannot do what they're doing, and Liverpool to me look like some players have just given up. Absolutely unacceptable. I'm looking at Szoboszlai now, angry, kicking the ground. That's not good enough at whatever level you're playing at. Unacceptable.
And Dominic Szoboszlai is complaining to his teammates. He's got his arms out. The body language is awful. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of the Liverpool players out there have got their hands on their hips. And Arne Slot, the manager, has got his arms folded. We said this was a critical period for him this season after a really disappointing defence of their Premier League title, and it's all gone wrong here. Manchester City, though, brilliant, and the supporters in the East Stand on that far corner right next to the travelling Liverpool fans are doing the Poznan in unison, and from a City perspective it is a beautiful sight.
Yeah, it is. And do you know what, I feel for Arne Slot. He's done exceptional things here. He's clearly a good guy. His players have gone under here.
Liverpool have won the ball back though on the edge of the penalty area. Salah shoots, that one's taken a deflection, and in the end it's ended up in the arms of the goalkeeper James Trafford. And now it's the supporters directly in front of us here who are doing the Poznan. Tempted to turn around and join in, Mark?
No, get lynched.
No, you played for Liverpool, I need to remember that.
Well,
played for City and Liverpool.
I played for City, I was at Liverpool, I didn't play many games, but two stunning clubs.
Listen to the noise. The Etihad Stadium is loving every second of this. And you can understand why. City rampant, Liverpool going to pieces here. Although Wirtz has it on the edge of the City area, clips it across towards Salah, headed away by Nico O'Reilly. There's still half an hour to go in this quarter-final. Szoboszlai, edge of the City box, into Curtis Jones, and now wide to Mo Salah. Nico O'Reilly comes across, does really well, loses out though to Jones in the second challenge, and now it's Salah who carries it into the penalty area. He's got Haaland for company, but he rolls him. Here's Salah to the byline, tries to pull the ball back, and Mark Gay's there for Manchester City and manages to get the block in, and the Blues should be able to play the ball out, and they do. And here's Cherki, and every single pass is now going to be applauded by the home fans. Szoboszlai puts Cherki under pressure inside his own penalty area on his own byline, but he does superbly, does Cherki, to dig that out. And now Liverpool have committed about 4 or 5 players forward, and Manchester City smell blood.
Yeah, magnificent passage of play. Talk about, technical brilliance, individual brilliance, 1v1 ball manipulation. It's like just touched on everything. Liverpool have just got to be careful here. You don't need a 5 or 6-0 against anybody, let alone the problem for me now. If I'm a Liverpool player, I'm going, this game's done, it's dead. If I'm on the pitch, I'm going, guys, the game's over, we ain't getting beaten 6-0. I could be wrong. You're not scoring 4 goals against Man City. When was the last time the team scored 4 goals against Man City? I could be wrong.
I'll get our producer on that.
So for me,
Fulham, yeah. Good shout.
Use your head. The game's over. See the game out. A bit of pride. Work hard. Organise. Fight for the badge. But if we get a goal, great. But we're not getting beat 5. Look, 3 forwards again, all up in the top.
Yeah, shows how good my memory is. I was at that Fulham game and I completely forgotten about it.
Come on, Mark.
Back in December, that was. Start of December. And now here come the ironic cheers. And O'Reilly, we didn't really speak about O'Reilly's role in the goal, did we? But the run into the box and then the vision to cut the ball back for Haaland for the hat-trick.
And you know what, Mark? Not even that. I've been watching O'Reilly. He looks like a 30-year-old man. He looks like if you're looking at a photograph of the game, his is 4D. Now, some people play and they've got a blurry photo and they can't say his is 4D. He's seen everything way ahead of it.
Jeremy Doku's coming off. And the whole of the Etihad Stadium gets to their feet. Well, almost the whole of it. Not the Liverpool section. And Savinho replaces Doku. Another City change is coming as well. And it's going to be Rodri, who's on a yellow card. Understandably, who's substituted and replaced by Nico. And Joe Gomez is off for Liverpool as well. And Jeremy Frimpong comes on for him. So changes by both sides. Rodri gets a big slap and pat on the back from Pep Linders, who's down there with his earpiece in, the City assistant manager against his old club, with Guardiola serving the second of that 2-game touchline ban if you've just joined us. And that's why he's not in the dugout today. Cherki with a push on Van Dijk. The decision had already gone. Free kick to Manchester City. We played just over an hour and it's a pretty jubilant Etihad right now, with City leading by 4-0. A hat-trick by Erling Haaland in there. And Liverpool, well, I'm just trying to crane my neck to see how many of those travelling supporters have stayed. There's definitely a lot more blue seats up there now than there were about half an hour ago.
And do you know what, Mark? That tells you a lot, because Liverpool fans are like die-hard. They stay till the end. They stay till the last minute. That's quite an Everton thing to see for me.
That maybe sums up the way that their season has gone, as here's Ekitike into the area towards the byline. It's a penalty. Yeah. So a penalty to Liverpool, and Matthias has conceded it with a late challenge on Hugo Ekitike, who just towed it away from him. He came across, and Matthias, who won the late penalty for City at Anfield in February, now concedes a penalty for Manchester City, and Liverpool will have a chance to get themselves on the scoreboard through that man Mo Salah.
Yeah, and this is where it's difficult when you're a player. You're 4-0 up, you've brought on multiple substitutions, the game plan of the opposition, it's become like a transitional game. It's like you're playing football with your friends. It's difficult to stay in the moment and stay compact and stay disciplined. Everybody will want to score a goal, everybody will want to be the man, but you've got to stick to your role.
So penalty to Liverpool. Mo Salah in his final Liverpool appearance against Manchester City. The rivalry that's defined his career at Anfield has a chance to get himself on the score sheet. The City fans behind the goal trying to put him off. Here comes Salah. It's saved by James Trafford. Away to his right. The ball's pissed back into the box. And that sums up Liverpool's day. Brilliant from James Trafford. Not the best penalty from Salah, low down to his left, and he's kept it out.
Yeah, Liz is going to be causing havoc on the line later on, saying he should be in goal, he should be the number one. It was a really poor penalty, but you've got to go the right way, you've got to do your homework. And actually, when people like Trafford's in goal, 6'5", it puts you off. You're thinking, I've got to get this right in the corner. But it kind of sums up Mo Salah's season, if I'm being honest.
It does.
He could have had a hat-trick today.
Oh, yeah. Well, in the second half. 2 really good chances. 1 fantastic save in open play from Trafford. 1 he blazed over, and then the penalty, which James Trafford has saved for Manchester City, and to keep the scoreline at 4-0. Here's Salah, though, with a through ball towards Frimpong, and Trafford is off his line yet again, and he gathers it. And for such a good player, Mo Salah has got a real mixed penalty record. I know he takes a lot, but he does miss a lot as well.
Even in his pomp, I was never, whenever he was taking penalties, for me, it's a horses for courses, because he has scored a lot, but he never really places his penalties. He just puts his foot through it, which I don't like personally.
Well, he's already missed one this season. There's a yellow card, I think, for Kirkes on the far side. Just seeing a replay of the penalty. Trafford sort of went early, wasn't in the corner.
His foot's on the line, though. He does. His foot's on the line.
He missed a penalty against Galatasaray, didn't he? Salah, and he's missed another one there. And James Trafford is having, well, the couple of weeks, isn't he?
He's a top-class keeper, Mark. He's a top-class keeper.
City have taken this short. Liverpool switched off again. Salah wasn't even watching there. Cherki now back to Bernardo. He'll wind it up. Bernardo Silva with a left-footed effort. Mamardashvili clasps it and manages to prevent the scoreline getting even worse for Arne Slot, who is now going to make a triple substitution. The Liverpool manager, Cody Gakpo, Alexis McAllister, are going to be coming on in just a second, as is Rio Engamoa, the teenager. And Gravenberg's gone down. Michael Oliver thinks about stopping the game, but Liverpool play on. Erling Haaland's offering some words of advice to Savinho about where he wants him to be. The Brazilian, who's one of the two changes for City in this second half. Curtis Jones has it for Liverpool into Gravenberg, and Bernardo Silva is going to get his customary yellow card for a shirt pull.
A lot of yellow cards for such a small man. Maybe it was a good free kick.
It's a lot of yellow cards though this season. I think that's 13 now in all competitions for Bernardo Silva, who goes into the officials' notebook. Here come the changes for Liverpool then. So the first one sees Alexis McAllister, the shaven head, come on for Gravenberg. Second one is going to see Wirtz come off as well, and I think Ekitike is going to be the final player to come off.
They're big Liverpool players, by the way, aren't they? That's interesting. I'd love to know what Slot's thinking. They're like, I'm not saying they've played well, but they're big hitters. Whereas
the game's gone, hasn't it?
Yeah. I suppose that. Yeah, good point.
And Liverpool have got a big game against PSG on Wednesday in the Champions League.
Yeah, fair play.
Manchester City have got a free week before they go to Chelsea next weekend. So Slot makes changes. He clearly thinks, right, FA Cup's gone. It's all on the Champions League.
Yeah, common sense, isn't it?
City leading by 4-0 in this FA Cup quarter-final, and they have just been ruthless of Manchester City. And here's Engamoa on the right-hand side. He's just come on. In it goes to Curtis Jones, and out wide to Frimpong. Up against O'Reilly, tries to go on the outside. Frimpong with the chipped cross, sort of beat Trafford, who couldn't get anywhere near it, and Matthias, who conceded the penalty, did really well that time because he stepped across and nodded it out for a corner.
Yeah, brilliant from Jeremy. Haven't seen any of that from Salah on this side, but take people on the outside, you're going to get a cross, come back, shot, corner, foul, throw in, everything's in your favour.
Phil Foden and Tijani Reinders are going to be coming on shortly for City. Foden's just been called back to the technical areas. Szoboszlai takes this corner for Liverpool. Haaland heads it away on the edge of his 6-yard box, and now Matthias will clip it forward to Savinho, and City are on the counter-attack here, and this is danger for Liverpool. They've already shipped 4. Savinho tries to clip it up towards Haaland. Konate's headed down, and Frimpong will complete the clearance high into the sky. The sun is shining here in Manchester, and the sun is shining on what's been an excellent day for Manchester City. Really big performance before the international break at Wembley, and another one straight after it too.
Do you know what, Mark? I mean, Liverpool are playing against a world-class team, but they do have world-class players, but I think Liverpool have got 2 or 3 players that are completely out of the depth here, in my opinion.
Interesting. Are you going to name names?
I think the left-back's out of his depth. I think Wirtz is clearly an incredibly talented player, but looks like a little boy playing in the Premier League. I look at him, I compare him to Semenyo, who's a big, strong, powerful and player. And I think Wirtz, when he hits top gear and gets going, I think he will be a great player. Look at Bernardo Silva, David Silva, not Aguero, Sterling. They're not big players, but they're great players. But I feel this first year for Wirtz in the Premier League has been an absolute culture shock for him. So I'm not saying for 1 minute he's not a good player and he won't be a great player, but when I watch him playing for Liverpool, he looks like a little boy.
Well, sacked in the morning was the chant from the Manchester City fans towards Arne Slot as another change is made by Manchester City, and Cherki is the player who is going to be going off, and he gets a brilliant reception. Another assist for Ryan Cherki in this game. What a first season he's had in the Premier League. and he is replaced by Tijani Reinders. And then the reception for Cherki, I'm sure, is going to be matched by the one for Antoine Semenyo and the one for the player coming on here, Phil Foden. So much talk about him this week. 22 games for club and country without a goal. With the World Cup coming up in just a few weeks' time, he can still play himself into Thomas Tuchel's plans, if he's not already in them, that is. Lots of rumours about that. But Foden is on, and now it's Engamoa for Liverpool on the right-hand side. Him up against Nico O'Reilly, two fantastic young players. McAllister picks it up for Liverpool, turns it out to Virgil van Dijk, and now it goes to Cody Gakpo on the left-hand touchline. He'll look for options in the centre. Gakpo's cross is deep. Foden with a first touch. He chests it down to Nico O'Reilly, who will just clear that high into the air and out for a Liverpool throw in. 19 minutes to go, and City are 19 minutes away from a trip to Wembley.
Yeah, just make sure professionals do things right, be an expert in your role, do it properly, follow the game plan. Don't need to go chasing another goal, the game's over. You don't want to give somebody a bit of hope, or what you don't want is a 4-2, and then you end up with people throwing silly questions at you, and
like me. Out to Engamoa on the right hand side. Step over from him as Foden comes across, and now it's out to Engamoa, Frimpong, on the right hand side this time for Liverpool. Now it's Curtis Jones, edge of the penalty area. City just happy to let Liverpool have the ball here as they are breezing through to the semi-finals at Wembley, an 8th successive FA Cup semi-final for Manchester City in a fortnight's time, and we'll bring you that game live here on BBC Radio Manchester. And now Engamoa into the City box, plays it off Phil Foden, and it will be a corner to Liverpool. We've got a busy weekend of action. Warrington Wolves against Lee Leopards in Super League to come at 3 o'clock this afternoon. That follows this game, and then on Easter Monday we're back on air at 2 o'clock for Derby Day in League One. Bolton against Stockport, both of whom had really big wins yesterday. Updates on Wigan at Northampton. Also Oldham against MK Dons, and Crewe against Salford, who had a dramatic win yesterday. Corner here to Liverpool. Salah drifts in towards Van Dijk, who now heads it back into the City box. Mark Gay with the clearance. Kirkes does well with the bouncing ball to nod it down to Curtis Jones, and it's back to McAllister on the halfway line. And now it's Dominic Szoboszlai towards Mo Salah. City want offside against Salah, but it's not being given as Matthias wins the header, knocks it down to Savinho, and now Nico, who's come on for Rodri, picks it up onto Bernardo Silva. Now Haaland, lots of space ahead of Erling Haaland as he crosses the halfway line and now moves it forward towards Reinders. Kanate comes across and should deal with it. Mamardashvili's off his line and he collects for Liverpool.
Yeah, good defending, good play again. Nice little switch of play from high pressure to low pressure. A good run from Reinders, but he's not going to run Kanate today. He's a good 1v1 defender. He's quick, he's powerful, he's strong, fairly comfortable in the end.
Ball's just been played out of play by Alexis McAllister with nobody around him, and as I look to the right, that is the signal for more Liverpool fans to head towards the exits. It's been another poor day and a really disappointing season so far for the defending Premier League champions. Here's Engamoa towards the byline, and his cross hits Nico O'Reilly, comes back, hits himself and goes out for a Manchester City goal kick.
But you know what, at least he's come on and he's having an impact. He's causing problems, he's making Nico O'Reilly defend, he's got some crosses in, he's had a corner. Okay, he's lost out in that battle, but at least he's coming on and having an impact.
Well, Ryan Cherki has apparently just put on Hugo Ekitike's shirt on the City bench before someone told him to take it off.
He did, I've seen it on the TV, and I was thinking, what in the name of God are you doing?
Not sure what that was all about. Guardiola looking very laid back in the director's box, laid back in his seat as City string three balls together. Reinders looked to be in if the pass had been right, but Liverpool have cut it out, and now it's Dominic Szoboszlai in the centre circle who exchanges passes with Alexis McAllister, and Szoboszlai will now clip this out to Gakpo, who chests it down well on the left hand side, halfway inside the Manchester City half, into Alexis McAllister. He'll drive this right-footed, it's swerved. James Trafford managed to palm it away. Mark Gay completes the clearance. McAllister there clearly just thought, well, I might as well have a dig, nothing else is happening. Trafford made the save, but here comes City with Reinders carrying them past the halfway line. Now Savinho, two of the substitutes in combination. Savinho with a couple of step overs as Frimpong comes across. It's worked backwards to Nico, and now Bernardo Silva for City, who are just content to keep the ball and try and move Liverpool around, make them chase shadows for the last 14 and a half minutes of this FA Cup quarter-final. City lead by 4-0. A hat-trick from Haaland and one from Antoine Semenyo. And Liverpool, who did pretty well for the first 35 minutes or so, blown away either side of half-time by the team in blue. McAllister tries to find Ngamoa, he's caught late, and another change is coming for City, and the hat-trick hero is going to be replaced. Listen to the reception for Erling Haaland as he leaves the field here at the Etihad. And he applauds all four corners of the ground as he's replaced by Omar Marmoush. Big hug between the two of them, and it's been another special day for Erling Haaland. And it seems a lifetime ago that we were saying he barely touched the ball, and here we are, and he scored a hat-trick and he's the match winner.
Yeah, and you know what? We don't say that disrespectfully, because on any given day, City don't play through the middle a lot. They play around, they horseshoe, they pocket run, so he's never going to play in a game where he gets a million touches. But if you look at his performance today compared to Mo Salah, I don't want to be on his case because Salah's had an astonishing career, but Haaland's had minimal touches, he scored a hat-trick. Salah's missed the target at least twice. Trapp's pulled off a good save, but that's the difference of where they are in their careers at the minute.
Well, Salah's just gone off, actually. Liverpool have made a change as well. Federico Chiesa's come on, so Mo Salah departs the Etihad for the final time as Liverpool player. So many brilliant battles with Manchester City during his Liverpool career. 13 goals and 8 assists against them. He scored 5 times here as well before, but not today. Missed the penalty that James Trafford saved. That would have pulled a goal back for Liverpool, but Trafford had other ideas, and Liverpool still trail by 4-0. McAllister rolls it out to Kirkes on the left-hand side into Curtis Jones. Now Van Dijk tries to feed it back to McAllister, who had Marmoush for company there. Bernardo Silva and now Phil Foden will try and get things going again for Manchester City. Lots of changes for both teams in this second half. Now Savinho with pace to burn, tries to thread it through to Marmoush, but Van Dijk it was that came across that time and turned it away for a throw-in.
I mean, the good thing Liverpool have gotten the two centre-halves, they're both 1v1 specialists, particularly running back towards their own goal. Good little pocket again. City have found, I think 2 or 3 times in the second half, City have found good little pockets in the middle of the park where they've exposed Liverpool. Appreciate the game's a little bit stretched as well now, where everybody tends to lose a little bit of discipline. People getting tired, substitutes wanting to come on and make things happen.
Don't you lose your discipline. None of those sweets. Eat your eyes off them.
They've been walloped. There's nothing left in the packet.
God, you're right as well.
No messing about here.
11 minutes to go. City leading by 4-0 on BBC Radio Manchester and BBC Sounds. We are the home of the Joe McGrath Breakfast Show. It's back after the bank holiday weekend on Tuesday morning, and Total Sport with Gaz and Emily every weeknight 6 till 7. Take your calls, and then of course live action in the Premier League, the EFL and the FA Cup, with another City semi-final on the way for you later this month. Well, that's certainly the way it looks, with City coasting here, leading Liverpool by 4-0, and it will be 3 victories over Liverpool for Manchester City, as Bill was saying earlier, for the first time in one season in their history. Now McAllister tries to play a return pass out on that far side, but Foden's there for City, wins it back, but his ball was cut out by Virgil van Dijk, and now it's an opportunity for Liverpool to try and make progress down the left-hand side, but this time the decision has gone in Liverpool's favour. I think it was Ngamoa over there who won the free kick. So free kick to Liverpool, but they trail 4-0.
Yeah, but you know what's interesting, Mark? That Liverpool had a transition there, and I'm watching City players, and every one of them sprinting back, getting behind the ball when they were 20-30 yards out of position. And yet, early in the second half, we're looking at Liverpool. City are transitioning. You got 4 players standing up on the halfway line.
Ball into the City penalty area. Gakpo with a header that James Trafford collects comfortably. And now City get themselves going with Foden on the right-hand side, given away by Bernardo Silva. So Bosley wins it back for Liverpool, and Kerkez has it. And that away end really is getting sparse now. The Liverpool fans have seen enough from their side, and the Manchester City fans just want this to go on and on and on. As Gakpo turns it back to Szoboszlai. Just under 10 minutes to play in the first of the FA Cup quarter-finals. The draw for the semi-finals will be tomorrow, by the way. And later today, Chelsea against Port Vale. That's at 5:30, and Southampton against Arsenal at 8 o'clock. Both live on BBC One. And West Ham against Leeds completes the quarter-finals tomorrow afternoon at 4:30. Here's Rio Ngamoa for Liverpool. Stands this up left-footed towards Gakpo, headed away by Matthias. Drops to Canate, who cushions the ball to Van Dijk. And now it goes out to the left-hand side. Curtis Jones and Kerkez for Liverpool. Dominic Szoboszlai to McAllister. City just happy to let Liverpool have possession. They're not hurting them at the moment. As Blue Moon is the latest song to come out of the repertoire of the home fans. Ngamoa's again trying to get on the outside of O'Reilly. He's looked lively since he's come on. O'Reilly cuts it out, and that's played in by Marmoush to Reinders, who turns past McAllister and will now try and feed Phil Foden on the right-hand touchline. A chance maybe for Foden to go at the Liverpool defence. He decides though to take the safe option and roll it back to Matthias. Now it's Reinders into Bernardo Silva, who's still out there. The City captain, played so much football this season. He's not one of the players that's been taken off. Reinders is clipped. Curtis Jones picks him back up and gives him a shove in the back for good measure. It's a free kick to City just inside the Liverpool half. And Bernardo Silva, who's already been booked, having another word with Michael Oliver. Absolutely no need for him to get himself in any trouble in this situation.
No, but he's right in what he's saying. There's been 2 or 3 times today where the referee's not played the advantage to both sides, where they've been in promising positions and he's pulled it back. So I agree with him. I actually think Silva's been unbelievable today. Even little things when you watch how he drives his players on, how he gets back into position, how he never hides, he's always looking for the ball. And then on the ball he's been exceptional. I think he's been brilliant. Considering when you look at the game's 4-0 and he's still running around like a man possessed.
Yeah, he never stops, does Bernardo Silva. Lots of talk about him this summer. Obviously lots of talk about Pep Guardiola and what will happen with the manager. But Bernardo Silva, John Stones, there are players out of contract this summer whose futures here are in serious doubt, and they've been brilliant servants to this club over such a long time, and they'll want to go out on a high with the FA Cup to come. The semi-finals later this month, and then the final, which is the week before the Premier League season ends. City at home to Aston Villa on the final day, and how they'd love to get themselves in a position where they're still in it on the final day of the season. They had that memorable final day against Villa here a few years ago when Ilkay Gundogan got the winner. They've played themselves out brilliantly there with Nico releasing Foden, who's on the halfway line. Reinders and Marmoush make the run, but the ball from Foden's just got too much on it. If he played that pass right, they were in for a fifth.
Yeah, I mean, again, Canate, Van Dijk, it was Jeremy Frimpong there. I mean, Jeremy's biggest asset is his pace. He's electric. You're not going to do him there. But, do you know, just watching City playing here, this is as good as I've seen City for a long time. It reminds me of the City of old, to be honest, when you're watching them just popping teams off the park. I mean, it's been men against boys today, isn't it? And yet you're playing against the league champions.
Yeah, it just doesn't feel like that, though, does it?
No, it doesn't. I mean, to be fair to Liverpool, to cut them some slack, give them some credit, they look like, and again, I'm going to reference Salah, look, they just look like a team who are so low on confidence, it's untrue.
Here's Ngamoa. Frimpong makes the run outside him. Curtis Jones will now play it to Frimpong with the orange boots on, number 30 on his back for Liverpool, who's just done a couple of step overs and now tries to play it back to Ngamoa. McAllister out to Canate. City just happy to sit on the edge of their own penalty area here, leading by 4-0 with 5.5 minutes to go in this FA Cup quarter-final. City set for an 8th semi-final in a row at Wembley as Gakpo almost gets in. Mark Gay completes the clearance. If they are to make it through, by the way, that semi-final, they'll be the first team to ever make it 4 FA Cup finals in a row as well. That sequence was started with a win over Manchester United in the treble year, when Ilkay Gundogan scored the famous goal after 10 seconds, but then beaten by United under Erik ten Hag, and then by Crystal Palace last season when Omar Marmoush missed the penalty with Haaland on the pitch. Marmoush is out there now, as is Savinho. Savinho's just overrun the ball though, and it's out for a Liverpool throw-in on their right-hand side inside the first half. I said the Liverpool end was getting more and more sparse. Even the Manchester City fans now are starting to drift away, and they're drifting away much happier to enjoy the rest of their Easter weekend with their team leading by 4-0. Erling Haaland taking a swig from a bottle of water on the bench a second ago, his arm round Nathan Ake, all smiles there. And why wouldn't it be? Because Erling Haaland has scored a hat-trick here to move City into another semi-final. Van Dijk for Liverpool, square ball to Szoboszlai. The game goes on. I'm sure if Michael Oliver could blow the whistle now he would, because there's not much else to play for really from a Liverpool perspective. It's such an unlikely situation from here. They've taken off a load of their big names as well, as we were saying, with the first leg of that Champions League quarter-final against Paris Saint-Germain to come midweek this week. Virgil van Dijk has got the ball. He was the man that gave away the penalty that started things off for City just before half-time. Now he feeds Engamoa, who got that late goal against Newcastle towards the start of the season, which announced him to the world, and he's on the ball here. Konate has got it now for Liverpool, the big centre-half, looking for options. And Manchester City just wait and say to Liverpool, come on then, what have you got? They haven't got very much, because Szoboszlai loses out, and now Savinho tries to break away. Konate hauls him down, and I'm sure that he will be the latest player to go into the notebook of Michael Oliver, and he does. It's a yellow card for Ibrahima Konate.
Yeah, and rightly so. It was a good free kick as well. A good time to give away a free kick. And it's weird actually, because as much as Liverpool just want the game to finish, I think as a City player you're just like, well, let's wrap it up and go home. Let's get away with a 4-0 win. So City have been brilliant. I mean, I'm looking at Nico O'Reilly. He's been outstanding. Looks so cool. And defensively in the second half, he's actually had to defend. He's had some really good 1v1 moments, and he's dealt with them all.
Erling Haaland and Jeremy Doku, Ryan Aït-Nouri sharing a joke, and Donnarumma as well on the touchline. City just far too good for Liverpool today, and they're still in with a chance of a domestic treble. Carabao Cup in the bag, FA Cup semi-final to come, and of course the final stages of the Premier League season. There's a foul there on Dominic Szoboszlai. Is that another yellow card?
No, it was for Nico.
Yeah, so Nico
Yellow
booked
card.
That seemed quite soft, but anyway, the yellow card for Nico Gonzalez. Manchester City and Liverpool have taken the free kick quickly, and here's Engamoa, right hand side, hangs it up towards Kerkez, who made the run from left back. Matthias is in there, so too is Phil Foden, but he's ended up on the deck. Liverpool still have it. Chiesa with his back to goal, edge of the area, and Kusanov gives him a big shove in the back, and now it's McAllister and Konate. We've got less than 2 minutes remaining here at the Etihad Stadium as the sun comes out again on Easter Saturday in East Manchester. Konate for Liverpool, feeds it out to Engamoa, right hand side for the away team. Szoboszlai's cross takes a wicked deflection. Kusanov doesn't really deal with that very well. He just slashed at it with his left boot. It's gone in the air and Trafford claims it. No suggestion of a back pass. Trafford releases it and it's out for a City throw on the halfway line. The stadium PA is about to announce the man of the match. Pretty sure we all know who that's going to be, and it is Erling Haaland, the man who's sat on the touchline on the bench, very satisfied with his afternoon's work, as we see a shot of Pep Guardiola in the stands. Doesn't look best pleased, but I'm sure he will be by his team's performance. Here's Engamoa for Liverpool. He's not given up hope. Savinho's back doing defensive work inside his own penalty area. Reinders comes across. Now Savinho and Reinders have come away with it. Reinders on the halfway line. Well, it's Marmoush tries to find Nico, and Jones is there. And the pass wasn't quite right from Omar Marmoush. Here's Dominic Szoboszlai, and now Curtis Jones level with the edge of the Manchester City penalty area, and it's worked back to McAllister, who's in a central position. He feeds it out to Kerkez, and now Gakpo. City will be desperate to keep the clean sheet, having got themselves into this position. Liverpool missed the penalty as well through Mo Salah in the second half, and now Wembley is the chant that goes around the Etihad. They were only there a couple of weeks ago, and City are going back there in the semi-final. Engamoa's cross has got way too much on it. Arne Slot just turns away, arms folded. Penny for his thoughts right now. And there you go. That's the final whistle. No added time from the referee, Michael Oliver, and the Liverpool players fall to their haunches. Manchester City have done it. History for the Blues. An 8th successive FA Cup semi-final in the Pep Guardiola era. And Erling Haaland was the hat-trick hero for Manchester City. Penalty, header, and then finish with his left foot in off the underside of the bar for the third goal. Semenyo also on target, and City are heading back to Wembley, and they've been far too good in the end for Liverpool. It's finished here in the FA Cup quarter-finals. Manchester City 4, Liverpool 0.
Never mind, no added time. I don't think the referee even played 45 minutes in the second half there. I think maybe he felt a little bit sorry for Liverpool at the end there, Mark. Wanted to put them out of their misery. But from a City perspective, they're through to Wembley again. And we talked about killing the game in the second half, getting that third goal. And they came out early in that second half, and they did. They killed the tie. They took it away from Liverpool.
Yes, they did. It ended up being men against boys in the end. I thought for 30 plus minutes it was a tight game. Liverpool's game plan were really good, but if you take the half time out, but if you look at the minutes, I mean, the bottom line is Liverpool have conceded 4 goals, I think, in 17 minutes. That's unacceptable. They conceded in the 39th minute, the 45th minute, and then early in the second half. That's just, they're pivotal times of the game. The moments in the game when you have to come alive just before half time, just after half time. Really, really poor game management from Liverpool today. They do look like a team really low on confidence, a team that needs the end of the season to come. But what's staggering is, like, you're playing PSG next week. You know, you're playing for individual pride, you're playing for the badge. I thought Liverpool got extremely exposed today, but they were up against a really top opposition. I mean, the real Man City showed up today, didn't they?
Yeah, well, we've talked, haven't we, at times this season, Manchester City have not quite been the force of old, but in the Carabao Cup final against Arsenal, and now here today, there are signs that this Manchester City are ready to go again.
Yeah, I've seen City a few times this year. I've seen them when they've been very good and not so good. Today's probably the first game that I've watched, and I thought it really reminded me of the old Man City where they were... I'm going to be careful. I don't mean this. They're like boringly good because they're so good. Do you know what I mean? Just pop, and you sat there thinking, oh, come on, I just want to go home now, because they're just, the gap between them and the opposition is so big. And yet they were playing the league champions today. They absolutely dominated the game. But they needed that first goal. But I want to see a reaction from Liverpool. You know, there's some there's senior internationals there. There's world-class players, or players that have certainly been classed as world-class. And players playing for the futures. I was really disappointed in Liverpool today.
Yeah, the reaction to going behind from Liverpool was not good at all, and their afternoon just went from bad to worse. For Manchester City, though, when you've got a striker like Erling Haaland, he's been called a cheat code at times. You know he's not going to get many touches of the ball. The ones he has, he makes them count, and he'll take home the match ball tonight. He has been named as the player of the match, perhaps understandably because of that hat-trick. He is a decisive player that turns up in those big moments.
He is, and from experience, they're horrible players. To play against a player who you know is not going to touch the ball and is going to have very, very impact in terms of touches in the box or moments on the ball, the concentration levels have to be through the roof, and you just know in your heart of heart you're going to turn around at some point, he's going to be running off with his arm in the air, and he'd done it again. But I think a lot of that is down to City's style and how they play, so it's not really Haaland's fault. But the one thing's for sure, in terms of technical ability and execution, whether it's left foot, right foot, or on his head, or whatever other part of his body, my God, he's absolutely phenomenal.
The City players taking in a lap of appreciation here. Wembley again, ole ole. The banners away to our left-hand side say, as Acquiesce by Oasis blares from the PA system. These supporters believe, these players believe, they are off to Wembley again. They have a chance of more silverware in the FA Cup. And who knows, Mark Kennedy, if they can rediscover this form for the remainder of the Premier League season, maybe, just maybe, the domestic treble is not beyond them. Yeah,
well, one thing's for sure, they're in top form. They're in fantastic. They've just won a cup final last week. They've played Liverpool today at home and absolutely, totally and utterly dismantled them. If there's one team you wouldn't want you chasing in that form, it's Manchester City for sure. They were excellent. And do you know what really stood out to me today? I look at people on City's bench and I think, I can see why you're not getting in the team. Whereas I look at Liverpool's team and it feels like we'll just pick the same 11 again. I don't see anybody challenging, or I don't see anybody playing for Liverpool today saying, when I played football, in my head, and I wasn't good enough to do this every game, but I had in my head, when I walk off the pitch, I have to look at the man and say, you have to pick me next week, irrespective. What Liverpool player can say that today?
None.
Whereas Man City, they're given, whatever happens next week, every Manchester City player today, if they don't play next week, are well within the right to knock on the door and go, Gaffer, what can you just tell me what I've done wrong? Because I think I've ticked every box last week for you.
We talked about it almost as a negative before the game, didn't we, about Phil Foden needing game time to get in England's minds ahead of that World Cup squad. But the flip of that is the likes of Cherki, Doku, Semenyo, they know they've got to perform, because if they don't, Foden's going to come in and take their place.
100%. And I listen, we all know the manager demands that, and I don't want to say that because I've absolutely no doubt Arne Slot demands that from his players. But there was a big difference today in mentality, body language and output from the level of professionalism from either side. And apologies, because we are talking about Manchester City. In fairness to Liverpool, to defend them, I think you've got a lot of play. And Mo Salah, for as amazing as he is, he looks like a player with no confidence whatsoever. But in terms of in it to win it and fighting to stay in the team and to win trophies, and I want to be relevant, and I need the manager to pick me next week, and I need to cause him a problem, City's starting 11 were outstanding today. And if I'm Phil Foden, I'm sat on the bench going, I'm not happy, but I understand why Cherki's playing ahead of me. He's doing everything that's asked of him.
City have beaten Liverpool by 4-0 here. They're off to Wembley for the FA Cup semi-final, a 23rd trip to the National Stadium under Pep Guardiola. It is this phenomenal record. They lifted the Carabao Cup there just 12 days ago, and they will be heading back there at the end of the month for an FA Cup semi-final. Conceding just before half-time was really sloppy from a Liverpool perspective, gave them a mountain to climb. Once Semenyo scores a brilliant third, which was a really well-worked goal, by the way, and a great finish from him, there was no way back really for Liverpool. And yet, even when they did get themselves an opportunity, Mark, they got a penalty in the second half, and James Trafford makes a brilliant save to deny an out-of-form Mo Salah.
Yeah, I keep saying it, apologies. Trafford is the number one. It evidences, I think he's had a good camp with England. It evidences performance today. Not just that, he pulled off an outstanding save from Salah earlier on as well. He looked like a number one, and again, he's obviously performing at the level day in, day out, which you'd expect. One thing I would say for Liverpool today, because once they were beaten and they deserved a 4-0 beating, they had moments in the game. Ekitike in the first half at 0-0 has a great chance. Salah's had at least two other very, very good chances, but they've not worked James Trafford enough today. But I don't want to contradict myself, they did have moments, and their XG, I imagine, would have been not bad today. They deserve to lose comprehensively in the end, I thought.
It's baffling. If you look at the stats from today's game, Liverpool actually had more of the possession. It was 11 shots apiece. Liverpool had more touches in the opposition box than City did in theirs. The stats would suggest quite an even game. Maybe even Liverpool shaded it over the 90. And yet that is in no way tells the story. Liverpool were toothless at times in attack and made mistakes at the back. City were ruthless, they were efficient, they took their chances, and they were cruising for most of the second half.
Yeah, and also, stats can be I like stats, and they are important, and they're an indication of where you're going and where you could potentially get to. But they can be very, very misleading. So if you look at where Haaland scores his goals, they're in the frame of the goal. If you look where Ekitike's shot was in the first half, he's probably 8 yards outside the 6-yard box. Salah's one in the second half, he's probably the same. So in terms of where they were getting their moments, they are completely different. The other thing I felt when I watched Liverpool, no midfielder ran beyond the forwards in the game. Everything. I think I could have played centre half for City today because everything was in front of me. I wouldn't have been good enough to win headers and stuff like that, but
probably wouldn't have had to today.
Probably wouldn't have had to. And the one thing you always say to forwards when they get on the pitch, if you're playing up front for me today, I'm saying to you, right, I want to know after the game how quick their centre halves are. I don't know, well, barring the obvious with Kushinov in the first half when he got himself out of position, but Liverpool didn't test Manchester City in terms of tracking back and run. Whereas in the second half, don't forget, Konate, Jeremy Frimpong and Van Dijk all had to make unbelievable recoveries to get back us up. I didn't see any of that from City centre-halves generally in the game today.
Liverpool, obviously big questions for them ahead of PSG in the Champions League. We can talk about that shortly, but from a Manchester City perspective, Ryan Cherky, brilliant again today, but unfortunately will make a few headlines for what happened when he left the pitch. He swapped shirts with Hugo Ekitike, who came off for Liverpool. Cherky actually put on Ekitike's shirt on the City bench, and it looks like somebody had a word with him pretty swiftly and said, no, take that off immediately. You don't want to see that, do you?
No, look, the world's gone. What's he done wrong? Nothing.
But it's the optics, isn't it? It's the optics of it. And you're a Manchester City player. You do not get photographed wearing a shirt of another club.
100%. And sadly, perception's a really powerful thing. About, like, what has he done wrong? Nothing.
In my opinion.
Nothing for me. Who cares? You've won 4-0. What's he done? He might be Ekitike's best friend. I've got a million jerseys at home from other people, and that people swap shirts. Would I have put it on, sat on the bench? No, I wouldn't. I think because of winning the cup last week, because of the performance today, because of his performance, you might get away with it, a little pep talk. But I actually think it's a sad world we live in when stuff like that becomes a problem. But guess what? That is the world we live in.
Yeah, well, somebody told him pretty swiftly. He took it off and he put a City coat on. So it might make a story or two. I'm sure Pep Guardiola will be asked about it in his post-match media duties. We'll bring you his reaction to this game on Total Sport on BBC Radio Manchester. Before that, we're going to get some quick reaction from you to this win. City are into the semi-finals, through to the last four. Who they face, we will have to wait and see, but they are going back to Wembley again. Emily in Widnes is a City fan. What's your reaction to that performance today, Emily?
Oh, it was sensational. Again, we just look like the old City side, and people keep saying like this old City side. Like, I'm not saying we're the same team that won the treble, I'm not saying that at all, but we just look like we've come in ourselves. Probably a little bit too late in the season, in my opinion, in terms of other competitions, like we're out the Champions League and possibly let the league go. But I mean, you've got to be happy. We've done the triple over Liverpool. We've beaten them 3 times this season, a team we really used to struggle playing. So I'm really happy, and 4-0 was a brilliant win, and so many people looked electric today. So yeah, very happy and very much looking forward to going to Wembley again.
Yeah, it's never happened before that in Manchester City's long history that they've beaten Liverpool 3 times in one season. So a little bit of history made here at the Etihad today. And you are back off to Wembley for the FA Cup semi-final. You've already got one trophy in the cabinet. You've got a chance of another. Who particularly impressed you today, Emily?
I would say definitely Cherky was impressive again today, but also Nico O'Reilly again in defence. I just cannot sing his praises enough this season on how much, as a young lad, an incredible season he is having. And I'm hoping that whoever is manager next season continues to see his potential and keeps him in the main squad. Like, I don't want him getting sent out on loan or getting poached by a bigger club. I think for him to stay at City for a couple more seasons and develop will be absolutely incredible, because I'm just so impressed with him as a player. He's absolutely brilliant.
He's not going anywhere else now, is he, Mark Kennedy? Surely he's a mainstay. He's one of the first names on this City team sheet now, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. And also Manchester City are a world-class club now, with world-class players, world-class facilities, world-class manager. They're a team that you expect to be at the business end of winning Premier Leagues and Champions League. So I don't see where else he could. What club is he going to go to? Where you going to, apart from, and it's arguable, by the way, a Real Madrid or a Barcelona? Do you think going to Juventus or Bayern Munich's a step up? I wouldn't say so. I think you could argue it if he went to a Real Madrid or a Barcelona, but I think it's just somebody's opinion. Very few clubs he can go to where you go, he's gone to a bigger club.
And you're talking about a lad who grew up, he was born in Ancoats, he grew up just round the corner from this stadium we're sat in right now. And that's, you know, I know it's not the most important thing in football, Mark, but we've seen it at other clubs. We saw it with Gerrard and Carragher at Liverpool. We saw it with the class of '92 at Manchester United. To have a local lad in your team does mean something, doesn't it? It means something to supporters. Anyway,
I was literally just going to say it means a lot to the club. So as a club, I think you've got a responsibility to have your own. And when they're at that level, let's say you've got a player that, I don't know, is from another nation, another country or whatever, and you've got Nico O'Reilly, and they're at the same level of ability, which is top. You're breaking your neck to keep Nico O'Reilly because of what it means to the fans or whatever. But I actually think, not in a critical way, I think it's a wasted conversation and energy. He ain't going anywhere.
Emily, hat-trick for Erling Haaland today. We shouldn't be surprised by it, but again, brilliant finishes. The header for the second one, and then the instinctive finish for the third as well. I mean, what an asset he is to have up top when he's in that kind of form.
Honestly, I can't believe I didn't mention him, but you have been impressed today, because it's like he's not scored for ages, and then when he's come back and scored a hat-trick, it's almost as if like my instinct's just like, oh yeah, well, it's Erling Haaland, he's meant to be scoring hat-tricks, but it's brilliant to see him back scoring again. And hopefully in a couple of weeks' time when we go to Wembley, obviously he might finally get his first, obviously, Wembley goal, who knows? But yeah, it's such a crucial thing to have him back at this point of the season.
Still waiting for a goal at Wembley, which is incredible, really. But, I mean, it just goes to show, Mark, he scored a hat-trick today. We're not talking about him that much because he makes the extraordinary seem relatively ordinary because he scores so many goals.
Yeah, 100%. It is. It's actually mind-boggling when you talk about it and you say he scored a hat-trick and you kind of go, well, doesn't he do that a lot? He's just I keep saying it, apologies, he's a generational talent, and I think he's a player that we'll be talking about in 25 years.
He's been speaking to TV after this victory. Erling Haaland says, in the first half we struggled a bit, but we kept going after 30 minutes. Another Wembley trip for us, which is important. And then on his hat-trick said, it's been some time since I've done it for City, so it is time I've done it again. It is special, so I am super happy. And he also says, I've been in an FA Cup final and now we're going to Wembley. This club has to win trophies on the biggest stage. And that is kind of where City are now, Mark Kennedy, in terms of they are expected to win trophies, and last year without one, even after Rodri's serious injury, which clearly, disrupted their season, but a season without any trophies was unusual. So they had to kind of get back to winning something this year.
Yeah, it's kind of the bar they set. I mean, it's funny, I was Googling Pep beforehand. You look at his trophy cabinet as a manager, it's actually staggering. It's like Disneyland.
Probably
stuff.
Bigger than my house, yeah.
Oh, it's ridiculous. But, that's the level you're playing at. That's the club you're at. That's where Manchester City are a global superpower now, and they have been for a number of years. And on any given day, if there's one... Like, we talked about it before the game. When City played Real Madrid a couple of weeks ago in the Champions League, I think in most people's eyes, City were the favourites. So that's where City are now as a club, that they're playing a team of Real Madrid standing and pedestal in the game, and yet Real Madrid were the underdogs. I know they didn't win. I know City didn't win, but that's where
them to.
That's where, that's my point. That's where they've put themselves now, and rightly so. And you know what? If City don't win the league this year, next year they'll still be the favourites to win it.
Correct. Matty is in Manchester. Matty, how good a performance was that today from the Blues?
Oh, afternoon, lads. What a performance. Couldn't be more happy with that. And you know what? People want to say that City get the easy FA Cup draws, but I'll tell you something. Salford gave a much better game than Liverpool did today, and they're a League Two club. So, listen, you can have an easy game on paper, but people look to that as a tough game, and we've made it look easy. Brilliant performance. So many good performances in there. And, yeah, to get to Wembley again, God, we're going to have to start maybe renting rooms down there soon because we're there that much.
Yeah, I'd have thought you'd have put your own hotel up by now, to be honest. Liverpool actually started quite well today, but you just blew them away, didn't you? Particularly just before half-time and then just after.
They did, yeah. And do you know what? It was a similar story at Newcastle. I went up to that game, and first 20 minutes I was fearing the worst there. And then we kind of just clicked into gear. Today they were getting into a lot of pockets. Wirtz was getting a lot of space in between Rodri and Bernardo, and they looked quite sharp up front, and I was a bit worried. And then as soon as we click into gear, there's so many exciting players in that team. Cherki, Semenyo, Doku, Hart. You're going to create chances with that success up front. And I think once we got going, they couldn't get near us, and it was the same at Newcastle. And do you know what? It's becoming my favourite City team to watch in quite a few years now, because There's so many exciting players in that team. Cherky, God, he's like a throwback to the Berkovic-Benarbia days, if you remember them playing for City. He's just such an exciting, skillful player to watch. You don't know what he's going to do next. He's a bit cheeky, probably gets on Pep's nerves a few times, but as a fan, that's exactly what you want to see, a player like that. And God, I love watching him play.
Obviously, you've got a chance now. You're off to Wembley in the semi-final. Could win 2 cups this season. Can you still win the league as well?
Never say never, I guess. You know, it's good to have that pressure back on Arsenal. They've obviously got Champions League in midweek now, which is the one benefit to going out. They've got extra games that we don't. Chelsea away could be a tough game for us, so we've obviously just got to focus on ourselves. If I'm being completely honest, I think it's out of sight. But to win the League Cup, and then if we go and win the FA Cup as well, that's not bad. You can take that, and then I think, as Mark mentioned before, we'll go into the next season as favourites again. So bring it on.
Yeah, bring it on indeed, Matty. Thanks for talking to us on Total Sport today. So Manchester City are going to Wembley again for a 23rd time under Pep Guardiola after Erling Haaland's hat-trick helped them to a 4-0 win over Liverpool in the FA Cup. On the way next on Total Sport, it's Super League action for you as the Lee Leopards visit the Warrington Wolves, and your commentary team for this one on BBC Radio Manchester, Martin Ridyard and Josh Watton.
Bill, thank you. Welcome along to the Halliwell Jones. Water's wet, grass is green, and Manchester City are in the FA Cup semi-final again. But now attention turns to the Super League action as rivals round continues across the Easter weekend. Warrington Wolves hosting the Lee Leopards. A quick run through the starting 13 for both sides. Lee narrowly beat Toulouse last time out with that dramatic golden point win. They start with Gaz O'Brien at fullback, three-quarter line of Senior, Alitwienke, Brough and Charnley. The half-back partnership, as it has been all season, of Cook and Lamb. Penny and Mulhern starting prop forwards with McNamara in at hooker. Holton and Trout make up the back row with Isaac Liu locking the scrum. As for Warrington Wolves, Josh Fulis gets a nod again to start in number 1 position. Three-quarter line of Josh Smith, Hopewati, King and Ashton. Halfbacks of Williams and Mark Sneed returns to the side after being dropped for their defeat to Leeds last time out at Headingley. Thomas and Byrne are the props with Walker in at hooker, Bentley and Stone in the back row. Ben Curry is the loose forward. Myself, Josh Watton, alongside Martin Ridyard, the former Leopard, here on BBC Radio Manchester this afternoon. Martin, Lee up against it in terms of injuries. It's not an excuse to them, is it? And they'll go out there to get the 2 points.
No, it's not an excuse. Like I say, it's the lads who have actually been playing. They've got a chance to showcase what they're about and give Adrian Lamb food for thought when when probably majority of the squad's back after from injury. So they are doing it tough at the moment, but other clubs go through the same crisis, and like I said, it's time for them lads to step up.
Big afternoon for players such as Ben McNamara, Will Brough, who are those sort of fringe players, to go out there and prove a point today as well.
Yeah, and Ben's done really well, and he's took his chance. I think he's played better at 9 than he has at half, to be honest. And Will Brough, I think I've been looking really forward to watching Will, because obviously I played with his dad, who was a brilliant player, but Will seems to be one of them kids he's got the ability to be whatever he wants to be. And when I've watched him in games, he might not do anything for 10 minutes, and all of a sudden he shows that moment of brilliance. So I'm really pleased for Will, and I really hope he has a great game today as well.
We wait the two sides to come out of the tunnel. Ben McNamara going up against Warrington Wolves, where his dad Steve is of course the assistant head coach. Sam Burgess the top job at Warrington Wolves, and Warrington have gone well so far this season as well, it has to be said. This is probably one of the toughest games that Lee could have this afternoon.
Yeah, I think what Warrington have done is gone under radar a little bit. I think it's all the talk's been about probably Wigan, Hull KR usual, Lee a little bit as well because of how they've played, and St Helens with Rolls taking over. So I think Warrington have quietly gone about the business, and I think I was actually surprised looking at the table, not whenever it was, and I thought Warrington are up there, and they'd only lost one game, so which is credit to Sam and obviously and Steve McNamara.
It arguably suits them a little bit as well, doesn't it? The eyes aren't on them, they can just quietly go about the business, like you said with Lee, because of only winning one in the league so far, people might be watching them, and it brings a little bit more pressure, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does, and like I said, I think Warrington have had that for a number of years now, where the pressure's always on them, and the running joke is it's their year again. But I do like what they've done, and I like how they're going about the business. And I mean, and with Lee was in that situation for the last couple of seasons where the pressure wasn't really on him, and it's probably on him a little bit more this year. And like I said, they're just doing it tough though with it.
The atmosphere is really building here as rivals round continues in the Super League. Of course, Warrington's traditional clash on the Easter weekend was against Widnes. Now they're down in the Championship. Lee are the new foes for the Wolves. I'm not too sure how much of a rivalry this one actually is, Martin, but it's probably testament to Lee how far they've come, that they're taken really seriously now in Super League.
Yeah, I mean, every year there's always a random fixture where it used to be Warrington-Huddersfield as a rivals round, and it's kind of, you try to get your local derbys in as close as you can, and for us obviously it used to be Salford, and for Warrington we are probably the closest rivals to them now. I mean, it's literally 15 minutes away from Lee, so and again it is a credit to Lee being up there where they're being matched with Warrington Wolves as a rival, so I hope it's up for him for a good game.
But it's a pretty full stadium here at the Halliwell Jones as well. The stand opposite us, the standing section, like to make their voices heard, and a strong travelling contingent of Leopard supporters as well. Fill the away end to our right. We watch Sean right above the tunnels. We wait both sides to emerge onto the pitch. 3 o'clock kick-off this one on BBC Radio Manchester. Also with you on 5 Sports Extra, available via BBC Sounds. The flags are on the pitch, the logos of both sides as the players eventually do emerge onto the field. George Williams leading the Wolves with Isaac Liu in leopard print as his team come out to the field. A big afternoon in Super League. It's been a big weekend in Super League as well, hasn't it? What a win it was yesterday for St Helens against Wigan Warriors. Never write off the Saints is the old saying. Entertainment at its finest for your BBC Radio Manchester commentary there. This afternoon we're hoping for similar levels of entertainment as Warrington Wolves host Lee Leopards. The ball is out on the halfway line. Lee will get the game started via the kick-off, going from left to right in the first half, so playing towards those travelling supporters. Warrington will receive the kick-off as the flags, the mascots, just make their way from the field of play. Martin, where's this game won and lost for Lee this afternoon?
It's difficult to say at the moment, but I do think out wide, I think Lee have been pretty good up the middle. I think they've struggled out wide a little bit in attack and defence, and that's where Warrington have been pretty good. So if I had to say a key area, I do think the game's probably won out wide today. Let's hope I'm right and we do get the win with it.
Yeah, Warrington Wolves, one of the top sides in Super League for what they refer to now as shifts, when they throw the ball out the back in their own half of the field, and why wouldn't they when you've got players such as Matty Ashton and Josh Fulis in your side. We are underway. BBC Radio Manchester, Warrington Wolves against Lee Leopards. Walker in possession for the Wolves, just darts out of dummy half and carries it up towards the 30. He's been a real live wire, hasn't he, this season for Warrington. Signed from Widnes back in 2019. He's one of the premier hookers in the competition. As Warrington make their way up towards halfway line, it's a good defensive set so far from the Leopards. Discipline always key as well. We've seen this season with the quicker ruck speeds, 6-agains and penalties can often decide this one. Is on the last tackle, Walker scoots, 6-again waved by the referee for a ruck infringement. I'm not too sure what the referee spotted there, Martin Ridgard.
No,
was it the mark of that square?
That, to be honest. I mean, I do think it was a Warrington quick play, the ball. I thought Danny Walker just ran because the markers weren't set, but yeah, the referee's obviously seen something we haven't.
Early defensive work for the Leopards to do. 30 out from the line, Wyatt in the possession down centre field. Short ball popped up into the arms of Sneed, moves it through the hands and out towards Stone, the back rower on the right edge. He takes a carry in up towards a 10. Back in towards the post it comes. Sneed runs laterally, finds Williams, options on the left. King straightens up, just loses